Hey guys, welcome to the close, 2 p.m. That means 2 hours to go in the trading session and also the entire week. Big moves for futures, big moves for energy markets right now, as it seems more rumors flying around of a possible move by Russia into the Ukraine. So yeah, not good for stocks. On that headline, 1.6% to the downside for the S&P, 1.2 right now for the Dow. It's tech leading 2.5%. For the NASDAQ and getting worse by the minute here. I want to point out energy markets here, the oil or oil prices in general, 5%. Big spike for crude oil futures on that headline going back 30 minutes to a half an hour ago or so. 2.5% here for Bitcoin, Ethereum also moving around to the downside on this. This is the way the S&P looks currently. It's only now the energy sector that remains in positive territory. Everything else under significant pressure. Unfortunately, we mentioned Under Armour this morning coming off of that report, now 12% for UAA to the downside. Newell still holding on to gains off of their report as well. Industrial stocks really weak. I mean, it's going to be widespread here. MPWR 4.7 to the downside. Everything getting hit right across the entire board. Quick look at how the NASDAQ is shaping up here. Not much in the way of strength. Regeneron standing out there. Moderna as well, 1.2 and 2.7. Everything else, though, tumbling currently, including chip stocks. We had them on the watch list this morning. AMD, Marvell, NVIDIA, Xilinx, all about 8% to the downside. Pretty ugly way to wrap up the week here. Netflix, top corner as well, 4.25%. There's Google right beside it, 2.5%. One of those days. Lots to discuss. Looks like there is a press conference happening currently as well from the White House, so we'll keep an eye on headlines that are coming across. But yeah, big tumble here for the overall market, big tumble for energy stocks. Let's get right into things. Sean's going to kick it off with a look back at one of the trades he was looking at this morning.
Hey, Brendo. Yeah, not this morning this time, but it's pretty recent. And it's just going to be a really simple one. And it's a trade we're still in. I thought it was pretty appropriate. The market is absolutely tanking right now. So we go to the downside here and let's have a quick look at what's happening. And what we did, the Qs, man, we took the Qs today. We understand that they were strong in the pre-market a little bit. They bounced back, but you can see what's been happening all day. Look at this trend, straight to the downside. Then all of a sudden, I saw Jeffrey Gundlach on CNBC talking recession, talking about all this stuff. Then I go over to the Qs and I have a look and I say, you know what? Let's play it off of this 50 period. We have VWAP all the way to the high side. We're starting to turn down. Let's go short. We've noticed that the short has been in the last couple afternoons. Now, could have we predicted this kind of a move down? Well, no, because I wouldn't have got out there then for the dollar. So we take out half for this dollar right there in this area. And why did we take out half, guys? It's pretty simple. You're right into this past support that's already held, 354. So when we went short, we let it drop down. There it is. I think it's like 70, 80 cents or so on the first win. And then we held. And why did we hold? Well, we were just trying to find, like, what was an area here that we've already tested on the Qs? Because there's a lot of bouncing. We've already taken out this 354 area, which again is, part of the reason why we're short. So we already took out this area. That bottom wick that was made back there on the 2nd or the 3rd of February, you can see right down here, this is a 20-minute chart. That level of 350, 350.50 or so, that got taken out. So once we're down below there, now we start to look. Here's that level right here. You see some choppiness there? Almost got me out. Like, I'm now debating if we retake this, maybe we get out at 351, retake the 50 period, but you can see the market is still going to the downside. So we have what? A $5, maybe $6 winner on right now as we speak with the triple Q. So maybe I got to finish this and get back to my desk. But that's the move to the downside. And look, it's Friday, right? Obviously, now we're getting news of possible invasion, and maybe that's what's happening right now, of Ukraine by Russia. So that started to get some action here. And you can see the volume really picking up now into the afternoon on the Russia headlines, on just the economy. There's also a rumor about a surprise, and we just talked about it on the show, of the FOMC with a meeting next week. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen here? But when you start to hear those things as a trader, it's almost worth like taking a shot. And that's basically what we did here. We had our out up here somewhere like 355.50, this top area. So definitely 1-to-1 risk on the first piece, and then let the rest fly, especially on a short, man. When the bottom falls out, you really don't have that base, right? We don't have support here on the 20-minute, so we're trading the Qs. It's NASDAQ to the downside. We've still got this, and we're pretty happy about it. It's your trade of the afternoon, Brendan.
Yeah, lots of things to talk about. Let's get right into it here because it's going to be a busy afternoon as we try to get a handle on all of these things. Just reading some headlines coming across from this press conference that's happening right now at the White House, guys. Here's a few that I can show you. So Sullivan saying that Americans in Ukraine should leave within 24 to 48 hours. Talking about the West being united. I mean, saying all the right things, but yeah, it doesn't look good here, guys, for the overall market. There was a couple of other notes suggesting that, as you were saying there in the trade of the day, Sean, yeah, this meeting that's coming up on Monday from the Fed. I mean, there was a time when we got surprise rate hikes or surprise moves by the Fed quite frequently, going back to 2008, 2009, but it's been quite a while since that happened.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole.
We were just talking about that.
It's been like telegraphing more, right? Like it's just give the markets what they want, which is a little bit more certainty has been the way to go. And obviously, we could see, maybe we see something on Monday, who knows? You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you something's going to happen in Europe or not. Obviously, the press conference is going on right now. The market is deciding that they want to finally react to this a little bit, and so you're getting a follow through. As a matter of fact, like when the press conference was on, like my first thing was, okay, well I got two shorts on. Okay, which one do I want to take off and which one do I want to let ride? Because if they stop talking and maybe the market catches the bounce, I want to lock in profits. I decided to cover a firm because a firm breaks 50. It finally, I mean, it took forever for it to break 50, and then you go all the way to this low. And this is the all-time low, 46.65. There was a bid at 47, so I just took it out. Going to be happy to ring the register on a firm, but you had to wait all day. Not all day. You had to wait all morning for 50 to break, and it's finally gone. But the truth of the matter is a lot of this rollover has simply been, you know, this market getting the shock of it. Hey, this meeting, maybe we get a rate hike. Now the issue, of course, are we going to have some kind of military action or whatever in Europe? Whether I'd be betting on it, I don't know. I just feel I was the same way as Sean. I was looking to go short on Zillow as well all day long. And it didn't quite get to 60. It was starting to roll over. It was on consolidation. It's like, this market's tippy. Is it really going to go higher? Is something going to break out? No. So just jumped into the short trade. Now we're at the lows of the day. So this has basically been the way things have gone. Even the strong names have been able, like Zillow was super strong. It couldn't hold up, and history repeats itself over here on Micron as well, because if you looked at yesterday's action, look at Micron. Just runs super strong relative in the morning, goes to 95, tries to hold in the afternoon, and then right about 1:30 or so breaks down to the low. This is exactly the same thing ended up happening here today. I just wish I would have reversed into a short trade, but this is what we're seeing, like just a skittish market where once the bid starts to go, it just snowballs, and it's rolling down the hill. Whether it's warranted or not doesn't matter, because ultimately the market's going to do what it wants to do, and that is going to be a little bit risk averse. The VIX was spiking. That was pretty easy to see. You saw oil go absolutely haywire, but if you saw the VIX break up, I mean, like the acceleration move to the downside, and the whole notion of holding your shorts was pretty obvious. Like I canceled my Zillow bid at VWAP. The second, like usually I'm taking this trade, and now I'm rambling, of course, but usually I would take this exact setup and be getting it all out in front of 56. But if you just saw what was going on with the VIX and the overall market, there's no way you wouldn't be canceling bids on a short. I just wish I had hung on to more of the trade and not gotten a lot out, but it was a strong stock at the time. So you just got to play the momentum, because catching falling swords, not the way to go in this market, apparently.
No, yeah, try to be the sword, which is what we were here with the trade of the day here on the Qs, and we're just watching this thing fall down. We do have our out now at 351, so if that comes in, maybe that's where we'll wind up getting out, but or maybe even here, maybe even 350, 60. I don't know. This is just coming down pretty hard right now, and yeah, Neil just hit the nail on the head there. When you don't want to put your own coffin, like by holding these longs. I was gonna say, you don't want to put the nail in your coffin, because honestly, we have no idea where this is gonna go. Could the NASDAQ go down 4% today? Sure, it can, right? And that's why, honestly, you got to, and Neil just mentioned this as well, you got to sniff these out, right? Like when this was happening, and I was right on the show with Brad earlier, right? Brad and Arun, and it was like, hey, look, we were in PayPal supporting these longs. In, out, in, out, in, out. Then all of a sudden, this is the same time, 1 o'clock, that we took the Q short, right? It broke this. And we were going to wait for more downside. But as soon as we break that bottom, you got to stay disciplined and just get out. So there we are, getting out of that trade right there before PayPal now falls down to 116. So you got to like be very, very specific and make sure that you do have your outs. AMD's been a disaster today for the longs, right? So if you don't have your outs, then you're just going to keep getting smacked around. So, you know, hopefully that we all learn every single day something a little bit more. And I've learned that you don't want to play with the Fed. You know, when the market starts going down and it gives you some of these obvious plays, you just got to take them. And if you want the long, great, but don't sit there and support it until you're dead. You know, have your outs, be smart. This is a very, very tricky market.
Okay, so it's the U.S. National Security Advisor who is speaking currently, guys, at the White House. So there was a report earlier that suggested they thought that Putin had made a decision on whether or not this was going to happen or not. He's now saying that is false. So they never said, apparently, that the White House thinks that Putin has made a decision, a final decision. Either way, regardless, we'll keep an eye on what is happening from the White House. I wanted to mention this. U.S. defense companies, we got to look at things that are going to be gaining on this, and those are going to be defense names. Lockheed Martin up more than this now, 2.3 at this point, though. Northrop Grumman as well, 2.96. So some stocks we don't typically talk about a lot here on this show going to be in play here.
That is true. And oil. We got oil. No, it's obviously oil as well made a big move to the upside. So you could look at whether it's the futures or you look at your Chevrons, your Exxons, whatever it might be. They're going to start to run. But I was glad to see Trader Pratt and Arun talking about Lockheed and Northrop Grumman. It's important to have these in your toolbox, because the truth of the matter is, okay, maybe you can take an overall trade in the futures to the short side, or maybe you can look at some of these other things rolling over. But what if you don't have a go-to to the south side? Like maybe you're looking for something to go long in, and a lot of times the trader's looking to do that. So there were multiple opportunities in oil. Like it didn't just go up and then give you no consolidations. Now we're starting to pull back here as maybe some sense is going to come back into the market, because it was a huge spike. I mean, $2.50 in the time that the oil futures went up. You're usually going to get some kind of a peel back, but there was an opportunity to trade this in consolidations up and down. It was just as easy to be looking short side if you were following individual names. And this is the other thing I want to point out. When you're following individual names, like Sean's going to be watching the futures all day long. So to jump in the Qs, he's got the chart up the entire day. I was watching Zillow all day long. I was watching Affirm all day long. So to be able to catch those things on the reversal is obvious. But if you don't have them, you do want to know where to go. We've all known that this has been sort of teetering and in the winds and anything could possibly happen. So maybe you have an oil futures chart up. I was having this conversation, or a conversation about the volatility in the market. I think it was Mike in the chat saying, he's like, oh yeah, I now look at the VIX because of this kind of market. I don't always have a VIX chart up and look at volatility, but in this market I do, and for the last few months now, it's something I'm going to have up when we have extra volatility. So little changes that you can make to your, I guess, routine or what you want to do to adjust to the current market conditions. And this is one of them. Like, I'm not saying I was punching long in oil futures, but I was certainly making sure that I found my way to some shorts and holding on as the market continues to fall. I like to think maybe we can make a bit of a bounce here, but I think it was Omar was asking in the chat, are you looking at a long on like Lucid or something at 26? Does that look good? I would be pretty picky with where I try to bottom pick longs. We do it every single day. Oh, I like defending this level, but you mentioned AMD, Sean.
Yep.
I'll show you AMD, because there probably isn't a worse. I thought UAA was going to be, Under Armour was going to be my just frustrating stock of the day. And we talked about this, we should do a segment on frustrating stock of the day. Now it's AMD, because this is the rollover on AMD This is me getting trailed out of it because I always get trailed out because I'm not good at using trailing stops. And then this is me trying to defend the long in front of 118. And look at the stock, right? So I actually had the curl in the break. And at any point, so the reason I'm showing you guys the 15-minute chart, because it's easier to see on the 15-minute chart that the trend in no meaningful way was broken. If anything, there was at least where I went long, there was maybe a little bit of sideways action. But look how clean that trend is. And sometimes you just want to keep it simple. It's always like, oh, I want to get the long, I want to get the top, I want to get the bottom. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I got the top of the move or near it. I want to also catch the bottom because I like the long off that support around 118 to 120. And then you're trying to play it both ways, when really it was just a short all day long. Sometimes that's just how it is. And you can want it to be one way, but it's the other way.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is, Neil. That was our saying from this morning, remember? Yeah, so on that note, we just got out of the queues there because it just took this out. So a strong move up. We will ring the Reggie there on $4.40. So a nice little $4 win there for us on the queues as it continues to march higher now. But again, we had to have an out. And we used the 50 period. Just like we use it there, we use it right there again. That is the 50 period. And I did want to give a big shout out to everybody that responded here. This was our afternoon jam here. The Empire State of Mind. We were just thinking New York. We were just thinking, let's rock this out. I should have listened to a Dre or Eminem or something, obviously, with the Super Bowl. But it is what it is, Neil. What's up, Brendan?
Important levels, guys, on the overall market coming into play. You heard Arun there during Market Movers talking about there's a big gap in between key levels, which we are now at basically the bottom of. It looks, however, like some of these comments coming from the National Security Advisor aimed specifically at maybe calming things down a little bit. He's now saying the way that they have assembled troops at the border is suggesting that something is coming, not necessarily that they think something is imminent from Russia. So he's saying all the right things to calm things down a little bit. I wanted to mention this. Coming up, you guys are going to give your thoughts on what is happening on Sunday this week, if anyone was living under a rock. But Penn and DraftKings, I mean, we can have a look at DraftKings, but I mean, Penn holding up here a little bit better than most. But I just saw a note, guys, suggesting that betting on this game on Sunday is going to hit a record high.
Yeah, well,
it would be even better if it was legal in
all the states. Yeah, pretty much like New York, all the big states now got this thing legalized. But I thought we were going long on DraftKings here. What just happened there? 23-34 break. So we want to go long on DraftKings today, and part of it is because of that reason. You're seeing DraftKings. I mean, I don't know what the reason is because it's up 2.5% today in what looks to be a horrible day, right? DraftKings up today, so there it is. We'll punch the ticket long right here. We were already long earlier. Profit, then out, and watch it drop down. Obviously, the reload should have been down here at 23 somewhere, but we'll take it on the break back to the upside. I like DraftKings here, and yeah, I think it's already a record. Just because, again, you can now sit on your couch and gamble, right? And so I think that's pretty important as DraftKings will have a big number coming out of the Super Bowl. But again, it's like it's like their Super Bowl, but I mean, it's literally, this is the best opportunity. Yeah. Like if DraftKings is going to work, it's going to have to work now. I mean, this is the epitome of gambling, and pretty soon we're coming up with our picks as well. So, I mean, I don't know. For me, I'm going to go long here on DraftKings and see if some of that rhetoric carries forward here into the afternoon. So far, so good. We're in the money a dime.
It is only DraftKings that's up. I mean, Penn is actually, it's only breaking back off the low of the day because you see the market moving back. I actually just got trailed out of Zillow at 55.50 is where I put the trail on there. So I'll get out of that one and then start to work in. Like, I wasn't looking to bottom pick, and I know Lucid might have actually made that turn, but I just feel like the trend has decided which way it wants to be, and maybe finding places to fade makes sense. And that's the only reason I wouldn't look at a break like this on a Penn. I say to myself, why is it so weak in this scenario when DraftKings is having at least a little bit better of a day, and it has that foundation behind it? It's the same chart pattern, making that bottom, breaking out, but you can choose to make the play in something that's setting up a little bit better for you, or that has that relative strength or weakness, right? I like that underlying factor as well. I think it's like Ohio doesn't have legal betting.
Ohio?
The one,
Maybe you guys can tell us.
You guys can tell us.
You can literally just go on the border.
No, I know, that's
right?
the thing. There's other things you can do there, but that's kind of like, oh, they're in the Super Bowl, but then like that one, like their state doesn't, which would kind of
It's
suck.
actually a shame. You know, Super Bowl tickets are almost at their lowest they've ever been. Like you can, the tickets are going the other way around. I saw Adam Schefter yesterday tweet that they're down 42% in just a couple of days. Like
that's crazy.
A home team in the Super Bowl, and tickets are like as cheap as they've ever been. So, I mean, hey, man, if you guys are in the LA area and you want to wait about 3 hours in traffic to get to the game, that might be a great opportunity to see a Super Bowl. I mean, pretty cheap there, but I've never been.
If the Bills were there, I mean, I'd be fighting.
I've been to Fresno, but never LA. So I don't know. I just say that about the traffic because that's what everybody says. So I don't know. Brendan, you been to LA?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking a little bit about defense stocks there. They're all going the opposite direction now. So it's worth noting, you know, in a market like this where it's very headline driven, you have to be able to keep on top of things a little bit here. So a bit of a bounce for the overall market off that 4,400 area. We'll keep an eye on that. I mean, there was a note on Pfizer earlier. They were going to, or they released some data on a under 5 study on their COVID vaccine. I mean, it's a minor headline overall, but the FDA then came out and said, no, that's not going to happen, and they put a hold on that. So there was this move, worth noting, on Pfizer that happened actually almost the same time the overall market started to sell off, which was interesting, but there was a separate headline there for PFE.
Yeah, that's actually right back at, oh boy, load, Pfizer. Come on, there it goes. Yeah, like that was, I mean, a huge level, but it actually went right down to 50 even. That's what's interesting about this to me. So sometimes you just look at that round number and say to yourself, maybe it's worth a defense. And especially in a bit of a liquidity vacuum, and that had rolled over pretty quickly, bounced right off that 50 even. I wish I was looking at Pfizer this time. I wasn't. Like I said, Zillow, Affirm was what I was watching. AMD, even GameStop I was looking at. But sometimes it is that simple. That's where Affirm happened to bounce when it got to a round number like this. Pfizer's been under some pressure recently, so maybe it's trying to make this bounce off what has been pretty decent support recently. If it goes down there, maybe that's going to be something that's worth defending. Like I said, you got to be picky with where you want to go long. I was just double checking Microsoft. It would have to go to 95. And just to the point, all morning long, I told you guys about Tesla, or at least on the morning show. I talked about where I wanted Tesla, where I liked Tesla. And then by the time it comes to the afternoon, everything had changed about those levels. Like it got to 882 here, and I was kind of sitting wanting to grab something in front of 75s, and you're bouncing off this, and then all of a sudden, oh, you know what breaks loose. That's not the time that you're like, oh yeah, that level I liked from when I sat down here at 7 a.m. Well, that's not going to be all that valid in the moment anymore. Like you've got to be able to say, yeah, forget about it. That plan was based on a different reality, and we have a new one right here. So that's the reason you're not going to see me in Tesla. It sort of seems obvious, but a lot of times you have to put that, that concept out there. Just want to note, as the market bounced back to the upside just now, Affirm didn't really budge. So, I mean, I got out at 47. It broke, went right to the all-time low, broke it by about 5 cents or maybe a cent or two, whatever that might be, and then is just still right here at 47. So an all-time low break still in play, even with the market bouncing. Looks like I might have chose the wrong one to get out of first with Affirm here.
Yeah. Oh, talking about getting out of Affirm. Yeah, that's good. Look at this. 54 short on Affirm we had. We got out 51.70 because we're scared of that bottom. Like, okay. It was a good out, though, because it did rip back up, and we could have got short again. So I'm happy with this out. I'm not disappointed with it. I'm just not happy about not being short once it broke right there. But again, like, we're done the show at 11, and then all of a sudden it breaks, and it's just like I'm not even sitting here. So that, we definitely should have hit that. That's embarrassing, because we should have that short. And then, like Neil was saying, just hold it all the way down to the bottom. So that is what it is. But there it goes, Affirm to the downside. We won't say that anymore. But yeah, I didn't mean to say. I saw in the chat there. I didn't mean to say that Super Bowl tickets are cheap. I mean, I'm not paying $6,000 to go into a game. There's no way in hell.
If the Packers were in it, you wouldn't?
$6,000, no. But I would probably have gone to the NFC finals or something and pay a little bit less. But a part of it is too that it is in LA, so there is, that's the problem. And then someone, I think it was you, Daryl, or somebody put on the note that apparently there are threats of protests and things like that. So obviously. Obviously, that would be affecting people's, opinion on going to the game. So I don't mean to take shots at LA fans, but I think it's like known that the Rams aren't heavily supported as much in LA as maybe they were in other cities. But, well, LA is a city of the Lakers. It's a city of the Dodgers. And the Rams just got there, right? So that's something. And championships change things. You know,
they do.
And there's 2 teams playing at that stadium, right? The Chargers and the Rams. So shout out to that. I just think it's going to be a great game. I mean, we have more coming on that as well. So that's a firm. It looks like our DraftKings trade, although we do, move that forward. We did get out. It is now breaking below, so I'm going to get out here if we take out this 15. I'm not going to wait all the way to the downside. We thought that if the market did rally here, the fact that DraftKings is up 2%, you know, made some sense. We talked about why. We're talking about the Super Bowl right now. But as you can see, futures still pointing to the downside, still making that move down. We got out in here on the Qs. It's going to look bad right now. But again, it was just bouncing around. And like, you know, I got out. It went another $1 up. So that was pretty good. But wow, talk about thinking about holding it. The market's just getting worse and worse and worse here. So we got to address our DraftKings. If it breaks this 15, we're gone. Like I said, we've already made the money today. That was a shot. We took out 20% for 10 cents, and then it's just tanking to the downside. So it looks like we will wind up losing about 20 cents on this when it takes out this 23.15, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just a firm rolls over, got out of that, the Zillow trail out. And to me, the way I looked at it was I kind of felt like that last shock down that we got with the press conference and whatnot was probably going to cause like a level off, and then that was going to be wrong. I should have moved my trail in retrospect. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but when it broke VWAP and broke this cluster here and made the last push down, I actually kept the stop in that I had on this breakdown when it broke down a second time and this is talking about Zillow here. When it broke down a second time from 55 all the way to 53.5, I didn't then move my trail. So that's going to be on me. Like that should have been a trail up probably in this area at 54.5. And now we're going right back toward those lows. I mean, I can't find anything that's not shorting the bottom. AMD is now at 114. This is getting crazy. The 200 period on AMD is sitting right here, at 111.5 or so. And I thought there's no chance. There's no way we'd be getting to that level. Like I popped by 15 and it's like this is what we're talking about. You're going right back to that big bottom that we had, and then a significant pullback right about that 111. That's a 200 period. So I don't know about picking a bottom that would be anything but that. I'm looking at AMD right now. I would have to go a heck of a lot further than this for me to get in. And I was looking at GameStop. GameStop almost went to 130. Like that was a crazy move that we saw in GameStop. And I was like, yeah, shoot a little higher, shoot a little higher. And then it wouldn't make that last test right up to 130. Then the market rolled over and it died. This little bottom sitting here at 121, maybe it's got a bounce in GameStop. I'd much rather be trading off of 125 and fading it off an even number. So if there's a bounce, I know what I want to do with GameStop at least. Yeah, but it's crazy action here. I mean, I hate to say it, but another day and we're going to see incredible weakness going into the final hour. And it really doesn't seem like there's anything that's going to stop it. We'll see what happens over the weekend and Monday. Hopefully people come in with a good mood after enjoying Sunday.
For what it's worth, guys, I just pulled this up. If we're looking for something to kind of keep an eye on, there's country ETFs, obviously. So here is a Russian ETF, RSX, on the NYSE ARCA exchange here. Worth a note this afternoon, a big bounce off 23 to 23.5, but huge volume on this thing as well to the downside. The other kind of interesting idea this afternoon, here's a very tiny one, but gold, anything gold related, going to be strong. I just pulled up this because it was on a volume scanner there, but I mean, we can look at GLD, you can look at GDX. All going to be sharply higher here as the market pushes back towards session lows.
Yeah, I mean, GDX, for a lot of traders, they like GDX as a vehicle, and you're going to see it actually holding up pretty well. I mean, even as this thing started to pull back in there, we're maintaining these highs, and it's probably not another. It seems like it's very rare that we're ever going to be talking about gold. Like we talk about it today because of what's going on and the threat of military action, and then we talked about it when there's an extreme Fed action. And then, like sometimes I guess we'll mention it in context of the difference between this and crypto. But outside of that, I'm not really sure we ever really care what's going on with gold. But it goes to show if you know what to take, there can definitely be some trades. And oil actually came. Oil is still holding down here, oddly enough. Like so, that last push down in the futures, oil has basically leveled off here. So this just feels like it's it's the risk assets getting burned here once again. And yeah, it's not. This might not even be like about the military action. It could just be a skittish bid. Right now, I'm glued to watching Affirm and AMD, because AMD is getting close, like I said, to that 111 area, that 200 period. And Affirm just made the fresh low. 45 is going to be in play in Affirm. 45. So that's a nice round number. Whether or not I actually try like 45.05 or 45.10 long with a 45 stop, there's a decent chance if I see size that I'm going to do it. Taking the short, it was a bit tricky. When the 50 break, by the way, I had to take it twice because the CEO of Affirm, right when 50 broke, happened to be on another station. I wasn't aware of it, and it kind of was going back and forth on that break. Like it shook itself out, and the second he was gone, you can see the trend was then pretty clean to the downside. It's little things like that at times that you got to pay attention to, but it probably shouldn't matter, but it ended up mattering at that time. 54, I doubt is going to be a clean break, but if you are looking to take a break on this, it's quite clearly and obviously short sell restricted, being down 21% today and being down, what was it yesterday, 30-something%? What was it? What was Firm down yesterday?
Probably about
30?
that. I think it was about 20-something.
It was as high as 80 yesterday, wasn't it?
Well, from the top.
Oh yeah, but it had gone up. That's right.
Yeah, I remember it opened around.
Anyways, it's SSR. It's short sell restricted, obviously.
Yeah. We got out of our DraftKings there as that goes to the downside. So yeah, what are we gonna do? We tried it. That was a mistake. I was looking here at AMD. Sorry, but I mean this move just continues to go downside. I mean, I'm not looking to go long. I'm looking to go short. But that 115.50 never came through. I mean, I want to take it if we ever do come back into some of these 50 periods, because honestly, man, Ukraine is going to get invaded by Russia. I mean, all this kind of talk here, like, oh, now they're backpedaling. Now they're like, I really feel like that's like not the truth, but I don't know. Maybe they don't, and I hope they don't. But I mean, that's just something to look out for here. Like whenever something gets leaked, they're always like, oh, you know, let's go back on it a little bit, and then bang, they drop the hammer. So we'll wait to see what happens on that. Look what's happening to Tesla right now, down 5%. So you want to talk about a VWAP or a 50-period little hover there around 870. Wow, that would have been a great short back in. Now back to the day's low. So Tesla still not working, and I feel like I feel fine because this was a monster trade for me, but at the same time, we gave it up, and we gave it up on purpose when it took out the 50 period, and then it just danced around here, and then like I think either way I would have gone out anyways, but we got out there, and then it just made back to new bottom. So if you want to go long here, I can't blame you because we are at the bottom, and it might be worth a shot. And if you're long, I wouldn't be long for a long time. It might just be a quick off the rebound because look at this, man. It's just straight to the downside on the Qs. So not much protection here for anything. Like my eyes keep going up because I'm like NVIDIA down 7%, AMD down 9%. Like these things are just getting like destroyed again today. And we did raise some capital by selling some ABV, and I tweeted that out as well. And again, all I did was sell the winners. You know, I'm not going to sell AMD down 10% or anything like that. I just looked at this and said, hey, maybe we're top heavy here on ABV. We're long from, not even from here, from before then. So it doesn't matter where you're long from, by the way. That has nothing to do with it. It's just, you know, trying to sell some winners, get into something that maybe if we do drop down, then I can step into, again, a name. Like we were just celebrating. We went long Facebook 222 the other day. It went up to what, 235, and now we're right below that again. So watch out here. Facebook's at another key level. Remember, this used to be key. Back in the day when Facebook, you know, was trading before it took out 220. Here's 220 right here. So we're bouncing off those levels one more time. We've already took that out. So I'm going to go long Facebook and see if we can catch something here off of 220, guys.
Now you're now seeing the market try again to turn around. I mean, Affirm just bounced at 45.58. That was a little bit far away from 45. I wanted a bit closer. AMD doesn't really get to where, you know, that 111 area. I'm not convinced just yet. It's almost like we need to break 44.4 on the ES, or sort of looking at the NASDAQ as well, what kind of level we'd have to break. The VIX is trying to turn around a little bit here, and I'm just trying to keep it to a couple of names, just so I know, like if we catch a bounce, these are the two names that I want to try to see if we can get a reversal in, and if we get a pump to the upside, I kind of know that. Okay, I feel like GameStop at 125, you know, 130 was the thing, 125. I kind of feel like that's what I want to lean into, but we're now in the bottom end channel of a range in the futures, and I feel like either we break the low or we need to take out 44.4 on the ES, or at least, you know, see the NASDAQ get above 14.4 as well.
All right, big game coming up on Sunday. It's Super Bowl weekend, guys. We're going to, it's Friday afternoon. We're going to take a little bit of a relaxed approach here and give you Neil and Sean's picks for the game on Sunday. Guys, take it away.
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Best. It's time.
Look, obviously, we could talk about just individual, the game, who we like, whatnot. But we're going to keep it a little bit fun here. So Sean and I were going over some props that we like for this big game here.
Let's do this first. Here comes the props.
There it is.
Give yourself props. There we go.
Yeah, the props that we like for those games. Gonna get right into it here because there's one obvious thing. Everyone loves Jamar Chase and thinks he's the bee's knees. He's a great player. T. Higgins is an absolute beast.
Yep.
But you know what? That pass rush is gonna be all over you, Joe Burrow, and you gotta get the ball out quick. And I'm optimistic that Uzama can play their tight end, but he's hobbled. So that means they're going to need to move the ball with good old-fashioned Tyler Boyd. I like the over 41.5 on yards for Tyler Boyd. Yeah, he's the number 3 receiver. Yeah, they don't care about him a lot in getting him the ball, but they're going to have to if they want to move it this weekend.
All right, we're just going to go back and forth here with a couple picks. Is that what we're going to do?
Might as well.
Okay, so should I go full screen? Does that work? There it is. Okay, so Neil goes with Tyler Boyd, and I'm on the same kind of thought here. I'm going to go, we'll just, actually, let's go right here. We'll go to the second one right away. Actually, let's do it in order. All right, how many sacks are we looking for? I think that, again, we talked about Aaron Donald. Neil's going to come with that in a minute. You know what? Look, the Rams are pretty hot. Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times. Okay, guys, against Tennessee, and they won, all right? That line is not going to be able to protect them. Matt Stafford is also a statue. So for me, I mean, he's somewhat mobile, but, he ain't a young chicken anymore. So I'm going to go, my pick is going to be over 5.5 total team sacks with -110. So all of my picks, and I think similar to Neil's, are all going to just be paying the juice. But there we go, total over 5.5. And stay with me 1 second here, and I'll do 2, and then Neil, you do 2, and then we'll wrap it up. And then I also like on the same thought there that Jalen Ramsey, although we're not sure what he's going to be up to, I feel like T. Higgins can run a little bit some of those crossing routes. He's a big guy also. They can throw some bombs to this guy. We'll see what happens, but I like T. Higgins right here, over 68.5. He's beat that the last couple games. We'll see what happens here. Joe Burrow looking to throw the ball. I'm not sure how effective Mixon's going to be, but I do think that Burrow puts it in the air and T. Higgins gets over 68.5.
He's going to have to, and when he tries to put it in the air, I don't care how many bodies you put on Aaron Donald. He's the most talented player in the game, and he's going to find a way to disrupt it. The biggest play in the game is going to be somehow him disrupting it, and that's why Aaron Donald is going to be your Super Bowl MVP. Plus, you're getting great odds on there. The quarterbacks are always going to be favored in that situation. I also think the Rams they're good for a trick play, right? So I love this one. It's will there be a 2-point conversion? I think that's obvious. I'm going to pick yes. But how many players will attempt to pass during the game? And I like the over 2.5. Of course, each quarterback will attempt to pass. So whether or not it's a fake kick, or maybe you have Odell Beckham Jr. on a reverse, making a pass to Cooper Kupp or something along those lines, I think it's pretty good that we'll see a position player that's not a quarterback throw a pass in the Super Bowl.
I actually really like that one, and I wish that I would have found it, but that's a great one. All right, 2 more for me, and then Neil will wrap it up.
I'm good.
Oh, you're good. Did you do your Aaron
2-point conversion, yes, we did Aaron Donald.
Okay, perfect. So let's go. We'll wrap it up right now. Cincinnati Bengals over 20.5. I don't know. The over-under is 48.5. I think that it definitely reaches there. I think we go over the number. And I just look at this and I say, you know what? That's 3 touchdowns. I also think that kicker, man, Neil, you know that. He's a beast. The guy's a beast over there on Cincinnati. So I think he hits if they can line up a 50-yarder, they're going for it. And my bet is I should took over field goal distance. But anyways, I think they're going to go for it. I think he hits it. I think he hits 2 field goals. You match that with a couple of touchdowns, and we're at that 20 number, right? 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals is 20. We'll see 20.5, I think is very reasonable. And then I'm going to go back with OBJ, and I'm going to say that, yeah, for plus 150, look, Cooper Kupp gets a touchdown, but he's minus 163. So you got to put up $163 to get 100. So you got to pay the juice.
Yeah.
On Odell. Yeah, why not? He runs crossing routes. He has 19 targets, guys, in the last 2 games with 15 catches. Plus, he's trying to play for a contract. So OBJ hits pay dirt on Sunday. I like that for plus 150. Drop a dime, not drop a dime, but you could drop 100 on that, get back 150. I think it's well worth it.
I hope he throws for the TD.
I don't, but for you, yeah, that'd be a good one. So those are the picks, Brendan. Are you going to be watching the game?
For sure, absolutely. We'll be watching the game, guys. have somewhat of an interest, but nowhere near what you guys are. So great stuff. We'll wrap it up at that, and we'll see what happens. Maybe do a recap on Monday. How about that, guys?
Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, yeah, we'll recap that on Monday. Thanks, Brendan. That was really fun. So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoys the game and get that. I told Marissa yesterday, fresh guacamole
You have
is a must.
to.
But then I almost got slapped because the thing is that she's like, let me worry about the food preparation. You know, and I was like, all right. So that's good. Trust in her, and we'll be good there. So, yeah, definitely Super Bowl should be a fun time.
Yeah, you got to enjoy it, and hopefully it's the kind of thing like. Look, it's never fun to see the NASDAQ down 2.7. It's never fun to see the ES looking like this. The markets are looking pretty weak right now, so we want to make sure that we take our minds off it for a little bit to enjoy it. This market's not going anywhere. Certainly, we can definitely be prepared. And there's a lot still happening. As I watch a firm here continue to make that low, it looks like that bounce, it was short-lived. And the reason why, you saw me cover some of my shorts, you're also seeing me be very, very patient with what I'd like to do next is we're basically barcoding. We just tried to make a bounce. We didn't break out of the range here on the ES or the NASDAQ. Couldn't really break, even get a green candle, whether it's you're looking at your 15 or a longer term. It's just we're not really getting too much of a bounce here. So until we get out of the range at the bottom, either want a level I love, a firm 45, AMD 111 for sure. If it's a short, like I said, GME 125, not going to be forcing anything. I just think if you're forcing it on the day trade here, it's not the way to go. Find a level you like, dig in. If you're simply shopping, it's a good opportunity. And of course, maybe I shouldn't have a firm up here. I could talk about AMD. If you're looking for a chance to get into some of these names, you could probably do a heck of a lot worse than saying, okay, well, I was looking to initiate a position. I mean, if you like dip buying off the 200 period moving average, everyone's panicking and we're pretty much right there. Like you're splitting hairs. On the long term, you're splitting hairs saying buying at 114 or 111. Realistically, in 10 years, are you really going to care? I doubt it. Unless 111 is your lucky number, and even then you probably still don't care. So, that's the kind of thing you got to look for. If you're already invested, it's probably a different story. But these are the times that you have to at least be considering it. Like, what stocks do you like? What's that shopping list? Do you have room to get in or not? And then try to make that execution. And the truth of the matter is, if we're actually buying for the long term, if you care about timing when to do it, you actually, there's been lots of studies on this, so I'm not just sort of making this up, although I wish I had one to be able to show you quickly. But buying in the afternoon is usually better for your long term than buying in the morning. And it's a few percentage points. If you actually time your buys, it's just one of those things. And I kind of feel like, when you get panic like this going into the weekend, there can be some good opportunities out there if you have that shopping list out. I mean, Microsoft's below 300. Like I said, AMD, we've been showing it all morning. If you like Tesla, you're getting 850, right? At 856.
Is that where it is? 850?
Yes.
Yeah,
Tesla's at
I talked about it. Yeah, it
856.
was 870. Yeah.
I just don't feel like the bottom. Yeah, I'm kicking myself because I allowed myself to get trailed out of the shorts. I got out of a firm $1 ago. And now, like all week, it's like if you're in the money in a short when the market's rolling over, just hang on to it. And that's sort of been the theme. And for whatever reason today, and I think it was because the nature of, like the second move down was because of what's going on, or the threat of what's going on in the Ukraine. And I guess maybe because I didn't believe it enough, I thought we'd catch a bounce off of that and not just sell into the close. But really, if you think about what happened yesterday with Bullard and the Fed, we're still in that environment, right? So when we rolled over, should have found a way to stay in it. Like I'll probably look over at Zillow. Zillow actually holding up pretty well. So the idea to trail out was probably correct. I just trailed out at the wrong spot.
Are we bouncing like crazy
in
here?
Zillow. So there is another bounce coming right off of 4,400 again in the ES. So it seems like the ES just wants to bounce off that level.
It does, yeah. That's why I was like, are we bouncing again here or what? What's going on here? Okay, so let's see if we do bounce. We are into, and again, you talked about like not forcing anything, and I feel like I'm the poster child of this right now as we are going over to Facebook again. And, I say that kind of tongue in cheek. I'm not trying to force this trade. We talked about having that 220 bottom, but it's just about being, it's just about being in something, but I don't mean that in like a way that you need to be in anything. I just think it's like, if you could find a level, and again, it's just sort of phrasing, I guess what you were talking about, and it's just like, just be smart with some of your trades, and remember, like, you don't need to be in something just because. So I'm going to find a level there on Facebook. And I mean, if you saw AMD, we talked about that. That's just tank city right now as well, right? So there are opportunities to get in here. It's a very slippery slope today, man, on these markets. So just be very, very careful. I am going to average in one more time almost right now on Facebook. I don't even know where my bid is, but it's in the teens. So if that comes down, we put the 220 line right there. So we'll give it a little bit more below 220. And then that's that, man. And reason why, we've already talked about it, right into here, Facebook 220, key level. We only broke it one day. And then that was the end of that. And then now we moved back up to the upside. So we'll see. It broke it here, carried it forward, and then it moved it up. So we've only spent a couple hours. This is a 20-minute chart below 220. So today, if anything, looks like it may be one of those days. So buckle up and get ready to go here. What's up, Brendo?
All right, guys, we'll take a second, and we're going to talk a little bit of futures markets and options. Frank Caberna is head of content at the Small Exchange in Chicago, and he's joining us on the show for the first time. Great to see you, Frank. Thanks for jumping on and doing this on a Friday afternoon. Why don't we kick things off with a little bit of an intro here? You know, for anyone watching who maybe hasn't heard of the Small Exchange or doesn't really understand what it is we're talking about, why don't you give them a little intro?
Absolutely, Brendan. Thanks so much for having me on here today. Yeah, Friday afternoon. Who knew it would be this active? Oh my gosh, a lot of stuff going on in futures and options markets, obviously. So here at the Small Exchange, we operate out of the west side of Chicago. We're a startup derivatives exchange that launched a little over a year ago. And now we've actually gone from starting with 3 futures products on 10-year interest rates, stocks, and precious metals that combine gold, silver, and platinum. Now we've got 10 products, and a couple of them actually starting to launch options on top of those futures. If you're new to futures, you're new to this derivative space, essentially what we do is we create indices on some of the harder to access markets like interest rates or commodities, like I alluded to, gold and silver. Crude oil is a big one that's ripe for trading in the futures market. And we create futures on top of that allow you to buy and sell those different asset classes with relative ease to ETFs and stocks that try to create lookalike versions of some of those commodities and interest rates and everything else down the line. And our goal here, Brendan, as a new exchange competing with the CME and some of these older traditional exchanges, is trying to give as much access to the everyday trader as possible. A lot of people, their first ventures into futures, into that space, is the E-mini S&Ps or some of those CME products that are really fantastic products, but just a little too big. The tick sizes aren't standard. The expirations are wonky. Some expire on Tuesday, some on Friday. We standardized those tick sizes, all those expirations, and brought the notional size of all of our products down to, we've got some products here that notionally are just a couple $100 and cost you just $100 or so to trade, whereas some of those E-minis and traditional markets range in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in size and require, 10 grand, 15 grand in margin to trade. So for us, Brendan, it's really access to as many asset classes as possible and in an accessible way, low fees, low margins, so you can scale up or down no matter your account size.
Yeah, there's definitely a niche, an area of, especially on the retail side of things, where someone with a small account size, as you said, is going to have a lot of difficulty jumping right into the big contracts of the futures. We get questions all the time to our friend Arun, our futures trader here, about how to get started in this market, and this is a great opportunity, guys. So let's talk a little bit about, Frank, some of the trading opportunities here. Where are we seeing the most liquidity? Where are we seeing the most volume traded? Where are we seeing the most activity in general?
So while we've had great efforts, especially in recent months here, Brendan, to bring in the liquidity, most of our markets are 1 to 4 or 5 ticks wide. Each of those ticks being penny increments that are equating to $1, just like 100 shares of stock. Most of those markets, like I say, into 1 to 4 ticks wide. But where we're seeing some of the greatest growth and some of the best liquidity has been in our interest rate markets, which is definitely combining with right now the most volatile asset class, as everybody's trying to project where the Fed is going, where interest rates will be from the Treasury standpoint in 2, 10, and 30 years from now. We've seen a lot of people grabbing onto our interest rate products, Brendan, not only because they're smaller. Our 2-year yield product, for instance, costs just $200 to trade, and it notionally at 1.5%, which is where the 2-year yield is currently. That's only a $1,500 product, as opposed to the treasuries in ZT, ZN, ZB being a lot larger products, demanding higher margins, and they're priced in bond price. Our products are priced in yield here, and that's really resonated with the everyday trader out there. If you think rates are going higher, you buy those interest rate products. You think that there's too much baked into these rate hikes, they're not going to be able to hike at the pace that everyone's projecting in Fed funds rates and in euro dollars, Brendan, then you just sell that. It's very straightforward. And that's really from the ground up, from product perspective to our fee structures and everything else. Everything is trying to be small, standard, and straightforward. Yeah, you can see here the projections for the next year's worth of where the Fed is going. I believe these are the projections for December of this year. So by the end of the year, a lot of people projecting that short-term rates will be around 150 basis points. Our small 2-year product, which is directly tied to where the Fed shifts short-term rates, right now priced at $15, that's 150 basis points or 1.5%. You can directly access those projections, what everybody's talking about concerning inflation, interest rates, the Fed, and everything else in one easy, simple trade for $200 in margin, man. You can't beat it.
Let's talk a little bit about maybe from an intraday standpoint. A lot of people that are watching are going to be, intraday day traders, if you will. What's the best opportunity here on the small exchange when it comes to intraday moves? Obviously, headlines all over the place today, moving markets, and this week in general, as you said, with interest rates. I want to focus on energy. What is the energy options here? Because we had another monster move, 5% for crude oil today. It's amazing.
Unbelievable move in crude here the last hour or so. And we have a small crude oil market that is just 100 barrels versus the 1,000 barrels CME contract. And we launched our small product, and then a couple of weeks later, they launched the micro. Great opportunities from a day trading perspective. I came up at the Chicago Board of Trade as a day trader in the interest rate field, but now have definitely created a more well-rounded approach to all these different asset classes to diversify that day trading. And energy has been absolutely spectacular, like you speak to, Brendan. I mean, it wasn't just an hour ago that our crude oil product goes from $90 a barrel up to 92.5, and now splitting the difference right at 91.5. And that's a product that's going to allow you access to that type of movement for $1,600 in margin. Now, that's the biggest product that we have in terms of margin, because let's face it, crude oil is one of the most volatile asset classes out there. But from a day trader perspective, Brendan, what's really fantastic about futures is this product at 90, let's just call it $90 a barrel, that's $9,000 worth of crude, and you get to access that for almost $1,600 in margin. And so if you caught that move from 90 up to 92.5, that's $250 relative to a very efficient buying power or margin that's just about a little over a tenth the size of the product. So much more efficient returns on capital relative to ETF versions of these markets, and especially our products, and I know other futures products out there do incorporate day trading margins in there as well, which can oftentimes be even 20% of that overnight margin. So you can get away with trading crude oil, US dollars, interest rates, equities for sometimes, a couple percentage points of that product's worth, and really day trade in and out of positions and make some substantial returns on your capital. We really want to make it sustainable for day traders out there to look for $30, $40, $50 scalps and have them actually be worthwhile from a fee perspective and a return perspective.
You took the words right out of my mouth here, Frank. I want to, this is all sounding great. Let's talk a little bit about how people might get access to this, and I want to get into the fees a little bit as well. It's worth noting anyone in the Day Trade the World family, guys, we have data from the small exchange already integrated into the system. So talk to your floor manager. For anyone outside of the Day Trade the World family, what's the best place to get more info here?
Yeah, you can absolutely go to smallexchange.com. We've got all of our fee structures and everything listed for our different partners. And we absolutely love our friends here at Trader TV and Day Trade the World. And from that perspective, you'll see actually that both our contract specifications and our fee structures are pretty boring. You're going to read them once and then probably not have to read them again. Our exchange transaction fees are 15 cents. And if you become a member of our exchange, which maybe we'll talk about down the line as our relationship grows here, you actually get those fees cut in half for life. So at some point there, you could get down to 7 cents per contract there from the exchange standpoint. I don't think there's another futures exchange out there that gets that competitive in terms of its fees. And then also our specifications, what's really, really cool, whether you're trading energy, Brendan, or interest rates like I led with, or equities, everything ticks in a penny increment. And each of those pennies equates to $1. It's very, very clean, very straightforward. None of this E-mini S&Ps is a quarter, and each of those quarters is $12.50. It's very straightforward to get started in this derivative space with the small exchange futures, but also those experienced traders out there have really found it clean to scale up and down using our products, man.
This has been great. Frank, thank you so much for giving us your time this afternoon and informing everyone. You know, we aim to bring any and all trading opportunities to the viewers here on this show. So we appreciate the information, and we look forward to our next visit coming up.
Thanks so much for having me, Brendan.
Take care. Have a great weekend. There we go, guys. The Small Exchange. That was Frank Caberna, head of content over at the Small Exchange Futures and Options, guys.
Wow.
Well, if you're going to talk about the opportunities trading the futures, what better day to do it than when it's going?
It was super bright individual. Yeah. I mean, that was great. Some of that talk
Market
there.
moving.
And yeah, we like those fees. We'll play with some small fees. And it's funny that he brought that up because in our chat, people were complaining how expensive it can be to trade some of those products. So glad to have that up to Small Exchange. So hopefully a regular, and we'll see how that goes. But again, Brendan coming with the fire. Sorry, go ahead, Neil.
No, I was simply going to say, like, this is the thing. Like, we trade individual stocks, and you see that market move. And we were just talking about, like, how do you express that trade when you get a big market event like that? Yeah, and finding a way to be able to trade the futures, the mini contracts, those are great vehicles because you don't have to know about maybe the overall trend in the stock or stock-specific news or what's going on in that sector. You can just jump right into it. Speaking of something stock-specific, AMD hit down 10%.
Jeez.
At this point, I was just watching a possible right turn on the VIX there, and again, I was sort of looking at, we're getting really close to that 200 period. And I know it's just a line on a chart, but that's where I thought support might come in. I said, if that happened and we're off this level and I see any kind of a turn in the VIX, then I just wanted to see if I could grab along on the first consolidation. So that's all it is. My stop is at the low of the day, or if the VIX breaks the high, I'll get into that trade. I mean, no matter how this turns out, the reality is we opened the show, and both of us opened the show in shorts that we probably shouldn't have covered at this point. So, you know, we got power. Oh, I don't know. Like it felt like the right decision at the time, obviously, but the market is continuing to flush here. It's difficult to look at that bottom. I just like the fact that, you know, if we can get a bit of a turnaround in volatility, there's a good level here in AMD. It's also psychologically down 10%. So I'll see if we can't get this one to win off the bottom here. I did also want to point out Tesla we talked about. That just made a bit of a right turn at 852, so 850 came into play. I just like the 200 period support on AMD a little bit better to take that trade. I suppose Tesla at 51, 52 off of 850 would have been a very similar play, but you got to stick to something that you're watching. And I've been looking at and trading AMD all day long. I haven't even touched Tesla today. I always say if I trade Tesla every single day, then I'm doing something wrong. It doesn't always have clean setups, and I just haven't looked at it the last couple of days. I wanted 950 a few times, and it wouldn't quite give it to me. So you got to trade what you're comfortable with. Today, that's going to be AMD. Affirm made a bounce off of 45, but 45.5, I should say. But much like the last couple times here, it's really just going sideways at these levels. I'm not really seeing any action. Like that little curl in AMD plus the futures, and this is starting to maybe trend into the upside. The way this market's going, yeah, I'll probably bank some in front of 114 because taking profit on any long, possibly a good idea. Not trying to hit home runs on the long side today.
That's funny that you just said that because I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just take something out of Ford here. I'm up 4 cents on the trade. So I got it. I mean, I didn't hold it, so that is what it is. But Facebook right there, we will flush ourselves down the toilet as we were. I'll just do this one because money's leaving my account on that trade. But we tried, and then there we go. So this is going to look bad, but like I said, man, remember when I was upset getting out of PayPal at, what was it, 118.20 or something? We can check out where that is right now. But again, you know, defend, took it there, took it at 20, waited for 19.50 to break. It does break and we get out, and that seems to be the bottom as now Facebook coming back up. So what I did was change up the strategy here a little bit and go over to a name that I know, has been strong and has the opportunities to go, and that's Ford. So, you know, there we go. Just take a piece out there. Or did I get filled or not? Yeah, there it is. So, we'll wait to see what happens here on Ford, but going through 54 now, there we go, there's the fill, and we'll see if we can retest VWAP here. Ford's been a good name. I mean, look, everything's been down the last couple of days, but I mean, I've just been watching Ford. I sort of know how it trades, and we're down here at some levels that, like, down to 17, like, wow, for Ford. So let's take a long here and see if that one begins to work. So that's the name that I'm in right now is Ford. You know, we could go back to Softy. There's lots of names that we can look at right now, but I'm going to stick with this. It's actually not even retracing that much, so maybe again I picked a wrong name here on Ford. Maybe it doesn't want to go. What did Microsoft just do on a bounce up here? Yeah, not much. I mean, if I'd got in at the bottom, we'd be in the money of $1.50. So yeah, it would be better than Ford. But let's wait to see here. Oh, damn it! Now I'm going to be really upset because I see what Facebook is doing. We'd be in the money. Well, you could see. But anyways, all right, let's go. It's nice to see at least Ford is going. So that's that play for right now. We made a little bit of money back on this, so we're pretty happy. But maybe we have to pick up some longs, or we go over to a name like an AMD, and maybe we just fade any of these pops. So are you in it?
I just went long.
No, I know.
Well, look, it doesn't matter. No, I took some out there. I took some out in front of 114. Look, it doesn't matter. Like, there was a point this morning where I was short the high in AMD and Sean's got the long. It doesn't.
No, but Neil, this time works though because you got out.
I did get out.
I mean, maybe you're still in some.
I'm still in some.
But the point is that the level you got out on is something that we're talking. You got out because it's a good level.
And this is a good. But this is another good point because Prad was going long AMD earlier. Look, I was too.
Yeah.
And then one of the things Arun said to him was, well, if you're going long and then trying to capture every single little bit of a bounce and the trend looks like this, I mean, the other thing you could be doing is shotgunning it and shorting every single bounce on that trend. Yeah. So I am perfectly willing to acknowledge as well that, you know, maybe that's not the best way to go about it. But in my defense, here's what I'm going to say. Most of the reason why I was looking for a long, and someone in the chat, and apologies for missing the name because I was just commending you. In the chat, I already forget. This is UVXY. You can whether track whatever you want to for volatility, but this is the right turn. You had this wick top at 17.5 and then started to pull back. You pull any of them, they're going to look the same thing, VIX, VXX. It doesn't. They're all going to be the same thing. When that turn happened, this was like that spike up and then 113 breaking on AMD. That's exactly when I punched long. I was watching this chart and taking the long off of that move, and that's what I wanted to see. Like, there's no way, and I don't usually look at this. I just added this one sort of recently to have on my screens over here, because you can try to find tops and bottoms. If you were short, maybe you're looking to trail out or put a stop in when you see that kind of a turn. At this point, I really don't think that I'm going to hunt for anything more than like 115 to 116 because the trend has been so clean. Gambling or betting that there's going to be I think gambling, because we just did that segment on the Super Bowl, but betting that there's going to be a trend break to the upside when it's a long weekend and the threat of military action, I don't know that that's the way to go. There's just a lot of risk over this weekend. Throw in the fact that there's this the Fed is going to be meeting on Monday, and I can just really see why the risk off is coming here. Now, you know, technically, I think that long made a lot of sense. Finding something where you have multiple reasons to get in. You know, a clear out and support. The 200 period was there. A clean turn in the VIX, which might lead to a bit of a market bottom as well. Those types of things are what I'm looking for to be able to get into a trade. Like, where am I wrong? What is my catalyst? And then, you know, of course, just make sure And just make sure you follow your plan, because it's one thing to have all of that, but I could sit here and say, don't try to hit a home run, and then I could not get out when this goes up to like 115.5, which it might do any second now.
Look, I'm happy as I'm not. I mean, I'm happy, but you know, look. I mean, we pick a good stock. We pick Ford. We're really happy with that one. Tim. We are happy. Yeah, it's still on you. We are happy with that one there, but look at Ford all the way back up to the upside right now as it goes. So yeah, big time movement here to the upside on Ford. So watch out to see, but happy to pick this one off the bottom. It's just what I was sort of saying there under my breath was like, wow, like Facebook just took off, man, and like that's not going to look good, but what are we supposed to do? I'm glad we went over to Ford, and that's making us some money. Look at DraftKings too, man, all the way to the upside. Should have reloaded that one back down here. It's stupid to look at these now because obviously everything is taken off. What about PayPal? I mean, that could be a name that we could look at for a possible long take here on PayPal. And I have bad news for everybody, guys. Ethereum just broke 3,000 to the downside, so it actually took it there at 2 o'clock, and it's just taking it now again. It did bounce back upside, so here's a 1 minute chart on Ether, so you can have a quick look. This has been pretty sick all day here today, and just now taking out, I mean, it took down 3,000 early, not just, but a couple minutes ago, and now we're looking at this bottom again. So watch out here for anybody trading Ethereum or, you know, any of the grayscale products, ETHE there over there on OTC markets, and then that goes with Mara or Riot blockchain as well. Hut 8 probably getting clapped today as well down to the downside. There's Mara down. We can quickly look at Hut as well, down probably 7-8%. Let's see what Hut is down when it loads up. Load. Down 6% as well to the downside. So just watch out here, guys. A lot of crypto starting to come back. Bitcoin 52.5.
And you know what? I'm going to do this. Well, not the last time I hit it, but the last time that I will hit that when Miss V is not here, because guess what? I don't know if we mentioned to you guys, but Miss V is back on Monday, so
back in the building.
We look forward to that. Hopefully she brings some good luck to the markets. I hope she bought a lot of green, like earrings, everything, just so we can get some moving back up. But I'm listening to myself, and I'm ringing the register at 1:15 here because I just finished saying not going to try to hit a home run with these longs, going to take the profit where it lies. So that's what we're going to do on AMD. I just actually saw a bit of support, like UVXY went like down $1 and found support exactly $1 lower. You mentioned crypto, and without even looking, the first thing I want to, oh my goodness, I typed NASDAQ on this one. I wanted to see what Silvergate was doing because my expectation was to see, and this would be a heck of a lot weaker than it is. I'm a little bit surprised that it hasn't rolled over even more than that. But a lot of things just bounced in the market on that move up, on that pullback, I suppose, in volatility. Tesla, you know, it got to 865 here. Not a bad move overall. I feel like because the chips had moved so far down, you know, maybe that's why these look like better ones. And these charts are going to look pretty much the same, like NVIDIA, AMD. It doesn't really matter. The stock that I wanted to fade, if I was going to look to grab a short, was GameStop. Just sort of thinking, yeah, is the money going to go into the memes after a flush like this? Pull the rug at 130 with the rest of the market. Here's a clean 125. It never even came close. So you know, that didn't get anywhere where I would have liked to short. And then you know, Affirm is sort of playing in no man's land as well. It bounced off that 45, and it's just right back to the all-time low. Like it's low on the daily chart. Well, its previous all-time low back here, you know, at the 47, where we covered our short. It's gotten back to that level, or at least is attempting to get back to that level. So there's really nothing to see. If this was back up here in the 49 to 50 range, I think it could be safely faded. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to pick the spots here. I don't know that I want to just be, you know, sort of sitting in a trade or fighting anything in the middle. Either your long is off the low, or I'm finding something that I like to short at a retracement level. No need to force anything here.
No, and we're doing the same thing. We're just getting some out of Ford. We're almost all out of everything. We're at a 75% of this play off the long 49. So, you know, we liked it so much. We hit it twice and then to the upside. And again, part of that, you know, part of the share size was just because I was kind of peed off that we missed the Facebook, and this was really the worst target there. What's going on with AMC today? So we did go long and got out there earlier on, just playing around with it, but it has just fallen down. This is like about as ugly as a chart you could see today, except for the fact that there are these bottoms that held. So I mean, Are we going to come back down to 1850? This could be something that we may want to look at here on this. So watch out for here, 1850 or so on AMC as a possible move downside from that. XLE, nicely done up there. My oil play is going nice. Enbridge at 52-week highs. That's the big oil play that I have. That's raw, and it's gas pipeline. But anyways,
TD Bank, baby.
Yeah, which one?
TD Bank.
No. Oh.
TD.
No, I was talking about oil.
I know. I'm just joking about
Yeah. TD Bank. Yeah, I love.
markets.
Yeah, the Canadian banks are just on fire. I mean, I love. Yeah, I mean that's the one thing. Like I read when I was very young, Wealthy Barber. And that's why I just started investing in all dividend stocks. That's why like I have Enbridge and all these stocks like super, super low. And I just drip them. Like they just every time drip into the account. And that's what that is. So
so there's while we're talking about Canadian markets, so like any ETF or like dividend ETF in Canada is going to be pretty heavily weighted towards your banks and energy, right? If you look, come on, daily chart. What I want, I just need you to work here so I can show XIE, which is a high dividend, whatever. But it's been printing growth recently. It's not going to show because my daily chart doesn't want to really load up. But you've actually seen huge movement. Not just forget about your div. This is what the Canadian banks are doing, man. Like, look at TD. It's just been breaking out. And not to toot TD's horn or anything, but they're the bank with the most U.S. exposure, buying up other banks and making waves in the States as well. So, shout out to them. The banks are going to do well in this environment. They're a good place to have some of your money. And it's definitely a good idea in this market, like I said, to take that profit, volatility going right back up at least a little bit. And then this is what happens, like that right turn just again here on AMD. Now at that 115, like you could actually see it. I can zoom in here. When it got to this price, it's not as if like you go parabolic, the biggest candle on the 1 minute here, parabolic into the next even dollar at 115. And then you can see it just go back and forth battling here. And sometimes it's just that simple. If you're looking for an out in a range, just have that level 2 up, right? Like you can see this on a level 2 where it's just going back and forth. It would get 10 cents above, it would get 5 or 10 cents below. And once that happens 2 or 3 times and you're already looking for an out in that range, you just take it. Like you don't sit on the offer 20 cents higher. You just take it knowing that if it reverses, you're going to hate yourself. If it goes up, you were going to get out 20 cents better anyway. So what would you rather do? Just lock in the profits? I used to be that guy like, oh, it's so close, just fill me. And I still do it actually. But you sometimes just to be active, just hit the bid. A lot of times when you're like, your gut is telling you this is where I should get out or I should get in, just hit the bid, hit the ask. You don't always have to wait for your fill. As an active trader, it's one thing that I have learned momentum trading. And candidly, like when I started out, I did a lot of penny stock trading and rebate trading, which I still do. So I'm accustomed to sitting and wanting my fill. Because if you're trading like Sundial, that 1 cent matters because it's like 2% when it's a 50-cent stock. It matters to you, so you're accustomed to taking the spread. When you're trading AMD and it's 10% move and it's a $12 range in the day, that 5 cents doesn't mean anything. You want the fill and you want to get out so that this doesn't happen. If we retest the bottom, I might give it one more shot to bottom pick, but I do not need us taking a fresh high on the VIX.
No, and trading changing your habits is one of the toughest things to do. So, yep, and we're doing that as we speak every day. So, trying to get better with everything every day. So that's cool. All right, let's go. Right now, let's go. Patience is undervalued. I think that's obviously true, and you just gotta have patience in some of these moves, right? The problem is we're trading real money, and sometimes it's like, oh my God, we got to get out, and we panic and get out. So
it happens.
That is what happens. And sometimes it's the right move, and sometimes it is the wrong move. It's just like when I was losing patience up here actually with PayPal, and I was like, oh my God, I think it's going to go, but it wasn't going, and we just got out. So that was $1. That was long at 119, out at 120 there. So that was $1, and we were ho-humming on taking it. Well, it's a good thing that we did, because then just after we took it, it tanked all the way down, giving us another opportunity to bank on PayPal before eventually dumping it, and then now you're all the way to 114 in an epic collapse today in the market. So the NASDAQ down 2.87%. It doesn't look like there's anything there. And I just still, we had the short in this market early, man. We had it basically when it started right there. So that's like, it is the trade of the day. And I'm up the most on the Qs out of any stock today as well. So that's, although Ford is pushing that. But there it is right there. That's $1. And then that is $5. So a nice move there. Qs is the NASDAQ 100, but an ETF. So, watch out for that if you do like a long, or you want to trade equities and maybe you're not entitled or don't quite understand the futures market. That's definitely something to look at. Okay, we'll throw to Brandon in a second. I'm into DraftKings right now, so back into it. Just seeing if we take it out. If not, man, this time we'll go back into here. It's just trailing around. So let's see if we can have a little more patience with DraftKings and just use this bottom as our out. I know that's a long way away, but we're going to see if it wants to do that. And then we also are waiting for the imbalances, which is only 314 right now. So let's see where they go. What's up, Brendo?
Anyone looking at CLF still? We had it on the watch list this morning, busy morning, but Cleveland Cliffs reported, if you remember, way back when this morning, Q4 revenue missed. So I just had a day low and SSR alert there for CLF, guys.
CLF?
CLF is my worst stock today, and I went short. Enough said. And on top of that, the idea that I liked equally, and we talked about what's the most frustrating stock. I don't know. I can say it was getting out of those shorts we did.
I know, but
I know.
That's different, though.
UAA was, this is a different story, because if you watch the morning show, I basically was sort of outlining the same plan for CLF and UAA, like right around this club. They both reported earnings and were under pressure. And it was sort of similar here, except UAA was more calm. And it was the low volume, so I didn't really want to get into either one of them until it opened up. And then, I got into Cliff, and that actually spiked high before falling. And then this happened on Under Armour. So, part of this is going to be the market, nothing you can do about it. But it's par for the course. It's going to happen to you. The most important thing, and it's not always easy to do, is when you miss out on that trade, chasing it would have worked. If I had just said, I got to get in, got to chase it, even though it violates my rules, it would have worked out today. But you still can't do it, and you can't get mad over the fact that you missed out on it. You can't allow yourself to force another trade. If you play back, when I didn't get into this, it's not as if I just immediately jumped into anything else. Like I was in AMD, and then I was in that Astra, and I was in Cliffs, and I wasn't really trying to force anything else at that time, despite the fact that I'd missed out on Under Armour. And that's the best that you can do, because I've been caught in that moment before where, you're like, oh crap, I just missed that one setup I wanted in the morning. I've got to get something else to make up for it. Everybody does it. It happens, but you just got to try to avoid it. And trying to sort of, speaking of names that maybe aren't as bad. Look, Block is only down 0.25%, but looking for something that in the midst of all of this has not actually taken out a fresh low this afternoon. It's hit the low again, and it's hit the low a couple of times. And this is a 107.25. It's not as if it's a significant level, but I'm just sort of picking out the names, mentally here that have managed to find some kind of a semblance of support. Like AMD might have bounced just now when the VIX turned, but you see what that chart is. It's just going straight down. Whereas at least for the last little bit, you've actually been making a bit of a bottom on Block, and it also happens to coincide with yesterday's bottom as well. So, you can come into this saying, okay, Block at 107, maybe that's worth it if we can get it off that level. Maybe that'll be a good level going into next week. Worth keeping in mind that they have not reported yet. They report still in 2 weeks, I want to say. It's like the 22nd, 23rd, something along those lines. They have not reported yet. So, there's still probably some time to wait to see how they report. But I like this level, definitely at least for the next 20 or 30 minutes. If it comes back down to 107, that's held support. That's a little bit different from just taking the turn on AMD because the VIX made a move.
I'm just going to say, so we are looking for more hosts. So this is not just a joke, but it's just TH. You could come on with us because look at this comment. Oil could plummet in after hours, then rebound, or vice versa. Perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about. How confusing, it could plummet in after hours, then rebound, or could do the complete opposite, right? And I think that's what we're talking about with the market right now. Like sitting here and trying to pretend what's going to happen next, very, very tough. There's too many headlines coming out right now. And thank you, TH. That was funny. It made me laugh there a little bit because I feel like that's me sometimes. Like, okay, Facebook could go up or it could completely tank, or either one. So I don't know. Just a quick update there on DraftKings. So we are long 30. 29, sorry, and we just got out there 46. So good one piece out. We're still holding 2/3 of this one into our grave probably as the NASDAQ stops and does not go ahead higher than its 50 period. We're actually, Neil, starting to retrace down. So I don't have any, someone said predictions on imbalance. I mean, down.
No clue today.
I mean, I think it's going to be down. There is a major delete happening. The AMD and Xilinx. So you'll see Xilinx off the market come Monday, I believe. Sometimes there's a few days where
it's just coming into the index today. So I don't know.
Oh, it's coming out of the index. Okay,
so let me double check.
Okay, so. I feel like it's not the index, man. I feel like it's the big guy.
Maybe it is.
But look at Xilinx today. All the way to the downside and just keep on going here for Xilinx. So watch out. If you guys know anything about it, it's AMD Xilinx. We do know that there's a big delete coming. So watch out, man. This could absolutely tank because remember, it's an all stock deal, right? So this name's going to be hammered, after if they need to sell a whole crap ton of this to get out of the indexes because of the AMD deal. Could be a problem. Brendo, sorry about that.
GLD, guys, as you were saying that, Sean, the market ticking down. Here we go. GLD back to day highs, 174 just taken out, now up 2% for GLD.
So it's Neil.
It's coming out of the Russell 1000.
Okay.
So like
so
sometimes
it won't affect the stock itself, but it'll affect the sell pressure.
But a lot of times, it's usually, when it comes out of the index, when the deal is closing, it's usually like a day or two, or sometimes it's the end of the month. We're not at the end of the month, or it could be like the next option select. So it might be coming out sometime next week. I don't know when they're actually being, the stock is being deleted, but yeah, Xilinx could have some moves in it. Subsequently, and as you say that, and I should have said this, like, this is on me because I was trading AMD. Remember, it's a stock deal. These are going to move together. So if there is a gigantic imbalance on Xilinx and you happen to be trading AMD, you might see some crazy price action there. So my personal advice is I wouldn't be trading AMD in the last 10 minutes. I wouldn't do it unless you have some kind of a play that would be around the imbalances. If something crazy were to happen on Xilinx, you could see a big move on AMD and it might not make a heck of a lot of sense. I'm not going to sit here predicting what's going to happen because I don't know which way it's going to go. But if it's a few million to sell on Xilinx and that moves to the downside, you might see someone take a huge AMD position for some kind of a hedge. I've seen that happen in the past, and there's been crazy action in the acquiring company. I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but you should really be cautious if trading AMD in front of 350.
Yeah, thanks, Wanda Brown. What's up? And Playmaker, yeah, the Rams could either win or lose. Same with the Bengals, man. Joe Burrow could either get sacked or not. But we'll see.
He's getting sacked.
There's
only one thing.
That was just a joke, but it's only one. Is he getting hurt? Is the question. Okay, Wanda Brown. We're so knowledgeable. I mean, we have Neil. I have 22 years experience. Neil's just slightly under that, and Brendan the same thing. So I mean, combined, I think we're like 55 years or something of experience. So we do sometimes know a little bit about what we're talking about. But I did want to talk about Jude here. Where are you? Trader formerly known as Jude Fernando. So I think that's the whole point. Watch out for AMD at these levels, that's all, because now we know that there is the Xilinx and then there is a possibility of some like funny stuff happening at the end of the day. I mean, I was gonna say monkey business, but I don't know. Happening at the end of the day with AMD. So watch out to see what happens there because you're at the bottoms of 112, and if you want to pick a stock, don't pick a stock with index action right now unless you're sort of playing off that action. So that's a tip for me. And if you do like to go long something, just pick something else. Like pick Nvidia then. Like you don't need to worry about AMD. Like let AMD do its own thing. Pick a softie that seems to be strong down here at 295. Go to Micron. Anyways, it's just
that's actually what I'm doing. I'm not even looking at.
No,
I'm going to watch AMD, but I don't want to trade it again. I was going to take it off the low, but now I don't want to be in it. I just feel like there's no point being in the risk. I also wanted to look at Facebook. You showed it, but I also got stopped out at 220 on Facebook. Gave it to like the quarters. It's right back at 220 and trying to hold the higher low right now.
It will.
That could be a little. I was about to say that could be a little bit of a something as the market is desperately trying to hold on to some of these. I was going to go back over and take a quick peek at Tesla. It's still relatively weak. It looks like 850 could still come under pressure here. And then the one that felt a little bit safer is getting close to that 107, and it's just Block, right? Now, Block hasn't really taken out a fresh low at any point since we came back on here at 2 o'clock. So it's the one, it stands out. Maybe there's something else. I could be wrong about this, but block in front of, the low is 106. 106.80, but that's like a pre-market price. Really, you've got a 107 bottom here that hasn't been breached, 107.25. So it's at 50s right now. So I'm going to take a shot on this. I see a bit of a turn happening at 17 on UVXY, so volatility could be coming back down. And of course, as I sit there, I'm not going to chase it a third time. Give me a break, or maybe I will. There we go. No, I don't have to. Just got long at 57. Your low of the day is, like I said, 107.25. If I peel back, like the reason why, if your chart might tell you there's 106.80 is a low. That's just a crazy pre-market print here at 6 a.m. So I'm not really paying any attention to that. The actual low is 107.25.
All right. Unfortunately, we are almost going to get out of DraftKings. I mean, I'm glad that we took profit at least, so at least we can say that a little bit there, that we took some profit. And it will basically, I don't know. I mean, we were going to get out if it broke back down below 20, but I feel like we got to give these a little bit of room here at some point just to work. So. But the market is sick now. Like I just feel like we need to get out of this. The imbalances are going to be coming in 20 minutes. Not that I'm, worried about it. And I think someone said like you're not trading. Fear is like part of trading. And I think that you do have to be. And I'll take the other side of that a little bit. You kind of have to be fearless sometimes in order to trade and so kind of like go against the grain sometimes and maybe do things a little differently. So not that we're trying anything different here with DraftKings. It's a positive. I mean, I'm going against the grain, which is what I'm trying to get at. It's a positive name here today, up 2.5%, while the market is getting killed. Like, I don't even know another name that's up. Like, I look at my thing here. I mean, oil, banks, like, I'm just talking about, like, growth names that could actually go. Like, I like this one here, and I like it as a chance to go to the downside. So, for me, back to the upside. So, for me, I'm willing to hold this against its downside with a little bit of logic there. So, that's just why we're doing it. And, sometimes you got to take a little bit of risk in order to cash a little bit. So, we'll see if that goes right now, but what's up, Neil?
I just sorted by stocks that are up.
Yeah.
And it's like Smile Direct's up. Oh, just what's on my quote board, by the way. So like just stocks that I might be looking at. I don't know why Smile Direct's still on there. Must be from last week or something. But DraftKings on there, but XOM, that's oil. Oxy, that's oil. But look at that. Sundial stands out because Orphazyme, small cap, GDX. Yeah. Sundial is up 6%. So there you go. I don't have the Kansas one, so I can't really. I never had those, but I didn't try to fade it today. Maybe it was a good idea. I did not expect to see that make the list. If I were to scroll up, it's not pretty. And this is just my quote board. It's like everything is to the red, and it looks pretty ugly. Sen's never recovered. A firm is obviously going to lead the way there. I like to sort alphabetically so I can find things. Sundial. Relatively strong. I mean, I don't think it actually matters. I just find it personally amusing.
Tilray was up too. CGC is up.
Aurora reported. Aurora.
Yeah, CGC's up. Okay, so maybe, the only stocks that maybe are green in my portfolio are the green stocks. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not a bad one. It's not a great one, but it's not bad. Okay, so on that note, Ford, again, a position that we have and we're a little worried about. We've talked about that a little bit over and over again as that's a strong name that we're trying to defend here on the bottom. So hopefully that can go through. And a stock XOM, again, I'm not going to short anything here with XOM, but this has been a good name. I mean, those of you that are in XOM know all about it. So not much to talk about here, but look at this. We're at the day's high right now for XOM. So it's just motoring to the upside right here. If you want to get some protection, I mean, we could check out oil. This always screws me up. It's CL, and then we got to do the same slash. Actually, I don't know why it screws me up. It's the same thing. NM. So let's have a quick look here on this. 93.50 right now for crude. So let's just check this out. Right here, we are bouncing around on crude now. 93.60. So it did have a high of 94 and change. It's closed, right? So it closes at 2:30, but it still does trade. So I shouldn't say that. It's closed for the day, but has extended hours. So you could see right now that it's just hovering around here. So oil not doing much. We wait for, obviously, Ukraine, Russia. I mean, that's a big oil depository over there in Russia. So, with OPEC and everybody controlling the supply, watch out if there's news on that. And if you're nervous about everything this weekend, especially when here's XOM, especially with all this tension over there in Asia, I guess the Russian area there, I would maybe exit your oil trade or trim some off, because maybe you did get a bump because of this. If they come out and say that, hey, we are not invading Ukraine, which I hope, then oil may fall back in, but it's been strong regardless for a while. Bye-bye BTC, people are saying. Yeah, crypto's getting spanked, guys, pretty bad. So we'll watch that tomorrow and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it looks like, I obviously chose block here. I did
coin.
mention Facebook was trying to make a bit of a bottom at that 220. It is holding. And yeah, it looks like it is holding as well, but I don't really feel like taking multiple swings at it, and that's why I looked at block. And the reason I like block, and again, it has everything to do with the fact that it just hasn't broken this low, and it actually gives you something with a little bit of extra support with that bottom from yesterday's action. The VIX is trying to still turn back, but it doesn't seem to matter because. And we're probably going to, if this continues here, we're probably going to lose. But yeah, the NASDAQ is still turning right around and going back to its lows. Rather than change this, my NQ chart, to a different time frame, I'm just going to quickly show you guys what's actually going on here. Maybe resize it a little bit so you can see. It's hard to see the bottom. We go to the other view, guys. Not that one. Doesn't matter. Either way, we just broke the lows again on the NASDAQ, so we're going to some fresh lows here. You can see it when I go like that. We're breaking fresh lows on the NASDAQ. The good part about it for this is at least Square doesn't seem to want to still break that low. So if you have something, if it's Facebook, which is holding the low, and you know where your out is going to be, for me, it's block, Square, whatever you want to call it, and the market's breaking this low, the good news is if we retake the bottom on the NASDAQ and can get back to the upside, well, you've already got something which is relatively strong. And I say that everything's at the low of the day. So relatively strong is a matter of, you're splitting hairs at this point, but you've got to make a pick one way or the other if you're going to trade. And I'm actually a little surprised they didn't do this earlier because all morning long, Micron was one of the stronger names here today. It did roll over with the rest of the market, but this is another example of something which is put in a higher low, which hasn't been breached when the market retests a low. So, if I wasn't already in block, Square, then I'd be looking at something like a Micron, getting long 89.5 off of 89, but I've already made my pick. AMD worked. I told you why I'm not going to be going back to that well. Block, same thing here. Although I'd say no matter what I'm in, if I'm still in something come 350, I definitely would be taking profit or tightening up the stop one way or the other, definitely with this kind of a day.
Oh, man. Okay, so, I want to talk about something there, and I forget what it was. Did I read something from somebody? I don't remember what it was. Okay, BTU. Thanks, Joe Huggins. We'll look at BTU for you as well. That's what it was, right. Good call there, Brad. It was the likes. We're going to do a like count right now because we need to get this going. 4,000 watching. We only have 500 likes, so you're going to get the double Sean right now going through. So let's get that. If you haven't hit the like button, please do it, and then we won't bother you into the close again for that. It's a free show. We're trying to get going on the like, so let's see if we can do that. That would be awesome if you guys had time to hit that like button and at least get us to a K. Those of you that are watching the show, you're here every day. Just turn it upside down. No matter what day you're having. Wow, look at... I say wow, but there should be no surprise in a lot of these names. Yeah. Look at Uber today to the downside as well as that's continuing the movement. Oh, that's Coinbase. Yeah, we can look at Coinbase here quickly as well. That name just keeps going to the downside here. Coinbase, obviously, on that crypto breaking 29.2 right now on Ethereum. So there's the Uber chart. Maybe a bottom here at 34. Sometimes you do have to go back and look and see, Uber did have a good report. They made some moves to the upside there. We touched 44. This is why I'm seriously debating hanging it up and never, ever, investing in stocks again. And I'll tell you why. It's because...
yeah, that'll happen.
Just heard Greg laugh over there. Yeah, I just bought some more today.
Collectively, everybody just laughed in the office.
Yeah. No, but the reason is it's just because it's just how frustrating is it? And I didn't buy Uber. I'm not in it. This has nothing to do with single stock risk or anything. But it's just look, it had a good report, right? So you're thinking, okay, everything's a jam. Uber was $43 a day ago, all right? And now you're down to 35. Again, in one day. So, the thing about that is even if you took the NASDAQ, you're only down 3%, worst case scenario. Uber's just got you 40, let's forget about 44. That's pretty unreasonable. That's the tick. But let's just say you went long 42, 43. Now you're down, guys. You're down $8. You're down $8 on 40. So whatever the hell that math is, Neil, like that is just not nice.
20%.
Yeah, exactly. 20% in a day and a half. It's crazy. And for nothing that Uber's done, nothing, anything. It's just, the market is like saying, hold my beer to basically every single growth stock. I even don't even want to look to see what ARK is doing today. 71, I'm just waiting for $50 on this thing. And again, look at this. This is the same kind of story. Look at the daily chart here on ARK. We were just, oh God, I don't know why it's not going to load here, but we were just $77, $78, and then you're all the way back down to the downside. So, I mean, maybe invest in an ARK if you want growth because the moves won't kill you as much. But wow, these growth stocks just continue to get hit, man. And it's just wild. That's all. I just want to say, right now, I can understand everybody's frustrations because although my portfolio is not swinging that hard, but if you are in some of these names, it's wow, what a nightmare, man. But sleep well because the markets are closed tomorrow.
And diversify. We've had this. We probably had this conversation earlier in the week, but especially when you're starting out, there should be something in your portfolio that you feel perfectly comfortable literally just putting the same amount of money into it at a random day every single month. And if there isn't something that you have that level of comfort with, and I don't care whether it's the SPY, whether it's a dividend paying, or I don't care, a mutual fund, it could be a dividend paying ETF. You've just got to find that vehicle that this is where I feel safe putting it in and it's going to be for the long term. And sometimes that isn't an individual stock. I don't know that anybody, and if that for you is Uber, that doesn't make any sense. I have to show this because I like embarrassing myself. But you want the Twilio short yesterday. Talk about aging poorly. This is the stop that I trailed out of. I didn't even realize that Twilio had made this move. Twilio's back to 190. This stock broke out on the earnings from 200, was as high as 260 in the aftermarket. When we came in and sat down the following day, it was at 240. It's all the way back. It's broken the lows, and we're at 190. It's right back into support. Imagine you bought this stock off support in front of earnings saying, oh, I like it. They're going to do really well. All of a sudden, you were looking at 20% of a gain, and then now you're losing? So that's the thing. As Sean was talking about, that's individual stock risk. The only thing I got on is Square, obviously. Keep saying Square block. This time, when it goes to 108, I'm going to take something off because it's 335. We are not just running against support levels and the market going down. We are also running against the clock because we have to be flat at the end of the day. So if it's just going to sit in this range and 108 is the top of the range, well, I should be taking some out in front of 108 because pretty much don't have a choice.
I just want so we have Nightbot on. If you put on stuff that is, little poo emojis and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you get banned, guys. So, that's off. What, Nightbot is off?
No, Nightbot doesn't ban people anymore.
Doesn't ban people at all. Okay. So then the YouTube chat will do it then, because I do see some people getting hit in here for doing things. So yeah, Pratt is fixing the Nightbot. He's beating that thing down because it was ruthless a couple days ago, and that was funny. People were just putting what was it? I think he had it set to 10 plus emojis. And people were doing rocket ship, people that support the show, and then they were banhammered on that one. So all right, let's just keep on going here. Ford, I'm still in the same two spots. I wish we were in something else. I'm debating getting into Softy right now. You see the NASDAQ trying to turn around a little bit here, so maybe there's going to be something in Mr. Softy. I'm just very, very hesitant to do anything right now because I don't have a good feel. I'd rather take a short into the imbalance because, I feel like it should be negative today. We can look at that XLNX, that Xilinx. We talked about that. See, what is that doing? Basing out at 94. So watch out. There's just a marketable action coming today. They are being deleted from the Russell index. So they're not in the NASDAQ 100, I'd imagine. But if they are, it's not that. It's the Russell today. So there's probably couple million shares at least coming out of the Russell. So that means that there's going to be pressure on Xilinx. And at 350, we'll see. Sometimes it will come out the wrong way, but on a deletion, probably Xilinx sees more pressure today, no matter what the market does, and that's going to come at 350. So, you heard it here first, or you didn't, and you've done your own research, but just watch out for Xilinx today. I think that there is an opportunity on that one. And I'm still looking at AMD. See what I mean about AMD, Neil? That's down to 112 right now at the bottom of the day as well. While the market trying to battle a little bit, I wouldn't touch any of these right now. If anything, I'd go over to a name that we know is pretty strong in the market, which is why I took a Ford, which is why I'm in DraftKings, although DraftKings is still up today, so that's kind of strange. Is there anything else, guys, that is like hard trend right now?
I can't even believe this, but you know I randomly brought up
Things
Sundial?
are just kind of bouncing.
Someone just said in the chat, like, look at Sundial.
Yeah.
It's like, the only reason I even brought up Sundial is because I sorted my quote board to see Sundial as one of the few stocks that was up more than a couple of points. And then, like, this just randomly happened. Like, it's probably a total coincidence, but then it broke out for what seems like no reason. I mean, they didn't do anything here today, and now it's up 8%. My daily doesn't want to load, but yeah, Sundial, oddly enough, breaking out. You're probably not going to see me chase along, but I doubt that actually surprises anybody. Like I said, I'm in the one trade. I'm glad it didn't go back to AMD, at least for now, because guess what? We're breaking that low of the day as we speak. Hanging on by a thread here in block. I don't really see too many things that are looking relatively strong. I was talking about MU looking pretty good. That's now retesting the higher low, so maybe it has a chance to get off the schneid here, but doubling down on 2. You know, I'm just not going to do it. AMD actually starting to accelerate a little bit to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised, like we said, if there was some crazy action in that one to end the day. Oh, did want to go back and check in on a firm. I really did think we'd see 45 even here today, and then that might have some size on it. You'd be able to play off of that level. But oddly enough, a firm is pretty much going sideways, holding 46. So a bit of a surprise. I'm not going to try that one to the long side. Just not going to do it. I'd rather pick something up which I feel better about at least.
I'm gonna
Roblox.
just because maybe you guys are looking for something, I'm gonna take Roblox on a breakthrough 66. It's tested it. It is at the bottom here. If the NASDAQ does fail, I mean, I think Roblox fails as well. You're only down 5%. I thought it would be down that 7 or 8, like a lot of these other names are down in not just in the space, but like we were just talking about some of those crazy names today that have been getting hit. Tesla's still down 6% as well. NIO down 6%. Shopify down 6%. Nvidia down now 8%. But here we go. So I'm gonna short this right now. Okay, are we in? Thank you very much. We are in at 95, so not bad for slippage. Actually, the slippage doesn't matter right now. It's a pretty solid. There's a lot of liquidity right now on Roblox. That broke 66. I actually crossed all the way down to 80 there, thinking that it would open up, but it's not. So there's a lot of liquidity here on Roblox, so that's good. That helps us out as day traders. And then we're just going to, honestly, look at the trend here. I mean, I'm not going to fight this. I'm just going to do what I'm most comfortable with, and that is just, in this drop down, so since 330, since 327, we didn't, we've respected this all the way down. So if we come up now, the minute I go short, if we break this, like it hasn't done anything here for 15 minutes except for going down. So now we break a key level. Let's see if we can respect that 66.50. So if we get, let's use 60 then. If we go back above 66.60, we'll be out of this one and we'll take a 60-cent hit and then we'll just move on from there. But you can see now, futures starting to go down. So remember, it's a 60-cent hit, okay, on this. So that, just so you guys know, our first out, probably near 65. So let's see if this continues to go down. Let me just do a little due diligence here because I wasn't really expecting it to break that fast. 65, yeah, I mean the next level's right here, 64.90 basically on this 20-period chart. So right in there, 64.90 is the level to worry about. So we'll get a piece out at 65 if it continues to go down, and right now it is. So you can see we're out of our Ford, which is actually profitable for us on that last little bit because we were able to get out all up here and then take a 3-cent hit on the out. So Ford was a good one. I'm glad we did that, and I'm glad we got out. And right now, we just got to deal with DraftKings. I might as well just get out of this as the market is starting to puke down. Let's just get out of DraftKings and hold some of the profits from earlier. That's it. Yeah,
I covered block just there. And look, AMD just broke down. The market just took another right turn through the low of the day. We're now down 3 1/3 on the NASDAQ. But look at AMD. I'm glad we didn't go back to this well. Xilinx as well. This is AMD and Xilinx. If this wants to even flip. AMD and Xilinx both sort of lockstep, breaking the shelf and heading lower. I don't think there's any need to defend this. And, I joked about maybe I'm not going to trade Sundial, but, that's the only thing that looks relatively strong here today. I was just watching Tesla It's right back at 851. Catching that falling sword makes absolutely no sense to me. It was 7 minutes before the imbalances, so I'm not going to do it. And sometimes that's what it is, man. Like the best trade is no trade. I mean, I could go down to the well for the last thing, which is trying to hold the low, but even Micron, forget about it. 2 seconds ago, I was about to say Micron hasn't broken the low of the day. That just broke the low of the day. So either you're willing to short something at the bottom, I didn't find anything that I loved, or you found a level you can defend. I've run out of those. Sundial, if you like it, is a penny stock at the end of the day. I don't. But these imbalances should be pretty spicy going into this close. I'd expect to see some larger numbers than normal. So I want to make sure I actually have that sorted. I saw someone mention in the chat that AEL had been a good stock today. Okay, look, it's down. It's been obviously a good short since it broke down. It's found higher level support, but that's the last thing. Travel name on this bottom. I don't know if I'd want to defend it. On the daily, yeah, that looks pretty good. Like here's what I'd say about AEL. You've peeled back to the 50 period. If somehow that gets held, and we're back around this level in Monday, and things look a little bit better overall, I guess, with not just the economy, but with sort of the world stage and these headlines that we're getting. Yeah, that could be something you could come back and defend. Okay, it made a capitulation bottom after all of this, and then if you're holding that same level, the next day, you might get a little bit of a relief, and then you have a solid base to go from it. It's not actually doesn't look too bad on the 15-minute at 1750. I don't know if now is the time to catch that falling sword, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on all of this. I don't know what the right play is going to be here. We are getting ready for the imbalances, of course, and that's just going to be spicy. So we're going to wait. You could see the market now, Neil, shooting upside, big time upside right now in the market. So I don't know what that's all about, but we'll wait to see here if this has anything to do with anything. Obviously, DraftKings still holding out. Roblox was in the money for us. 25 cents, but you can see it's starting to go back up to the upside. And again, I'm going to respect this. I'm not changing it. I'm not going to put it up here, take a big hit. This will be now a 50-cent hit for us if it does go back up to the upside. So that is Roblox. We did defend and not get out of our DraftKings. We had a lower price there of 10, but you can see right now, man, the market is popping up here. So good on it. But Roblox, we're still going to use this as our out. If it takes it, it takes it, man. I'm fine. We'll get out of it. But right there, 66.50 is going to be our out now for Roblox. So you guys, I'm just like reevaluating and making sure that we get that. Because Neil, guess what? We're only 5 minutes away right now from getting the imbalances and the Xilinx imbalance,
Dude,
right?
SPY just popped $1 and
I don't know why.
AMD went nowhere. Like nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just sitting on, this is the thing. Like I said, I'm not going to be trading AMD for the rest of the day, remembering that Xilinx was coming out and there was the index action. No, not even going to mess around with it because it might not be following the market the same way, and that's what we're definitely seeing here going into the close. The other thing too is there's a few things that didn't bounce. Like I got out of a block and that barely made any move off the lows there. So yeah, we got $1 on the SPY, bounce back to the upside, but I'm struggling to find any of the individual names I was looking at making significant bounces, which is indicative of what you're trying to trade. I'm sure there were some names that did make bounces, just in the growth space, might not have participated there.
Yep and yep. So I'm just agreeing with everything here because honestly, we have no idea what's going to happen here into the close. It looks like the market wants to rally. So there goes an imbalance to the sell side, I guess. As we're getting ready to rock and roll here, it just looks like a hell of a lot of upside pressure right now in the market. As you can see, the NASDAQ getting ready for these imbalances. So it looks like we'll be the wrong way here, Neil. Well, not the wrong way, but we were thinking short. I don't really have anything. We have Donkey Kong long and Roblox short, and we'll just wait for those imbalances to come out, which should be out very, very soon now as we look. So let's go get it ready to rock and roll. Here's the imbalances. They're going to come out. We'll sort them by size, and then we'll be able to see what's going to come through. So we'll watch whatever stock comes through, and we'll talk about it here as the imbalances are getting locked and loaded now. Probably going to come to the buy side now as the market has really started to rally. So maybe someone knows something. Let's find out what does come true here as the market is getting ready to make a move. So our short is still fine. Like you said, Roblox actually not really rallying that much either. So something to look for here in Roblox.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to be watching the two names, of course, AMD and Xilinx, both down exactly 11%. Pretty much identical looking charts as I look at both of them. So they're following lockstep. I would say this, though. There is a chance. I know it's an all-stock deal. I've seen it where you get like a crazy weird divergence and like one starts going one way and one starts going the other way. That can close really quickly if you actually decide to trade either one of these. It can get very dicey. Did also want to make sure that we're checking back on Tesla, because I know a lot of people look at Tesla. This held 850. So, I mean, 950 was a thing before. 850, at least for now, that's held on a dime. So it's always good to see something like that happen. It gives you a level to play off of potentially in for next week. I'm not saying it's a capitulation bottom, but I mean, the market's dying here, and we're actually getting a bit of a bounce, up $5. So Tesla making a bounce. It's good to see something. I was trying to find something which is trying to rally as the market is headed to the upside. Maybe we do have, look, the shorts got to take profits too. So like maybe this is what we're going to see, a little bit of short profit taking at the end of the day. That's the kind of thing that doesn't get you a monster spike, but it can get you a nice little bump off the bottom. Maybe that's what we're seeing with 2 minutes to go to these imbalances.
It seems like we're seeing something here because, yeah, the market is definitely in a big-time rally mode right now. So watch out. The imbalance is coming out now in 2 minutes. So definitely something to look out for as, yeah, it looks like it's trying to rip people's faces off right now, though. There goes Roblox to the upside. We're almost out of this one. Sorry, I mean, we thought the market was going to go downside, and it doesn't look like it wants to do that whatsoever. It's actually ripping to the north side right now. So we got a DraftKings winner, and it looks like Roblox, where's my out? It'll be coming out soon, hopefully on a breakthrough 50, I'm guessing there, and then we'll get out. So watch out for Roblox, just retraced all the way back to the upside. So here we go, only a minute and a half out right now on these imbalances. Things are rallying pretty nicely off some of the bottoms, including Ford. Not including Ford. I was looking, you already mentioned AMD still near the bottom.
SPY is like $2.50 off the bottom range.
SPY?
Yeah, look at the SPY.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the market. The market is in a little bit of rally mode right now. Here's Roblox. We'll watch that. But we have the imbalances coming out very, very soon. So, yeah, we are almost out of this name. And right now, let's go over to Brendo quickly here. What's up, bud?
There was a note there, guys. Looks like Biden and Putin said to speak on the phone on Saturday. So that did help on the way back up there on that note.
They say something nice. So look, maybe that's a bit of the rally. I still tend to think if it is, like I said, if it is short covering, which makes a lot of sense to me because the shorts have been doing pretty well, then that can tend to maybe mean that it won't be a gigantic rally. I just meant to go to the SPY. Here we go. It's meant to go to the SPY. So you can see, like, that's a bounce we're talking about. It's not gigantic. It's just that it finally found a low. So you'll look at anything that didn't have a relative move back to the upside, and that's where your weakness is going to be. Like I said, with 20 seconds to go, Xilinx, AMD, that's what I want to watch. Could be some interesting action in the last 10 minutes on those two.
Yeah, let's go and let's see what happens here. In approximately 10 seconds, we're going to have the imbalances come out. So watch your orders and see what does happen. We're out of Roblox. That was a mistake right there. So here we go. Let's go. About to come out now in 2 and 1 and 0. Okay, so here we go. What do we see on here? I don't see Xilinx at all. I see a monster bid for AMD. So AMD does have that big bid. There it is there. There's Xilinx right there as a sell. 1.5 million shares at the sell side. So not really affecting the market at all for Xilinx. And in fact, the market's ripping up right now. So watch out for all this. Market's starting to go to the upside here. Xilinx is there. AMD is there as a big buy. Intel's there as a sell, but whatever, that's kind of par for the course right now.
CCL is a buy.
Apple with a sell as well, so maybe this market does turn here a bit.
Yeah, CCL was 1.2 million to buy. When you see it was exactly offsetting on Xilinx and AMD when I looked at it. It's still pretty much the exact same thing. So I don't know that there's going to be too much of an issue there. Had it come out differently, that's when you look for a spike. CCL with a big buy is interesting because it did absolutely nothing off of those lows. A little bit surprised to see it wouldn't catch some kind of a spike. You're falling all day long and you catch a million in balance, and there's basically no buying off the bottom. So I'm not really even sure I see a trade there. That's pretty. Look, that's pretty weak. One of the bigger imbalances comes out, and you're at the low of the day, and there's no buyers.
Kind of crazy.
That's really not very. That's not a very good look, CCL. So I'm not going to be trading that. That's
not a good look, CCL. No. Yeah. So we'll, guys, we're just going to count our chickens here and get out because DraftKings gives us that out back to the upside as the market obviously ripping up. So CCL giving us an out here. We're going to end the day positive, but I mean, obviously we could have made a hell of a lot more money if we had just stayed short or shorted some of these plays. I mean, we had the triple Qs dead to rights up here, right here earlier, and we let it drop out at 350. We touched touched 346, man, that would have been a $9 winner. We took 5 or 480 or something right there. So definitely a misstep a little bit anyways right there. We are now a dime in the money on DraftKings, so that's going to be a good one. Hopefully we can retest up here 60s if we get a market rally, which we're trying to do. So let's see if we can do that upside DraftKings. Let's see if we can touch 60 on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually going to the upside is Xilinx, which I think is just because AMD is catching a bit of a bid, so they're going lock in step. In some circumstances, maybe I would have been fading this, but I feel pretty content to just sort of hang back. No need to force any trades here. I mean, the market does seem like it's going to settle down, not really make any power moves. I even look back at something that looked like it was strong. Square is going to get right back to that 108 in the same place it couldn't get through when I had the long. It can't get through it right now, even bouncing off that bottom. That's what I mean by it being weak. This is a wick bottom. This is breaking the low that sat there all day, barely going down anything after trending down all day long, and then making a push back to the upside right into the close and a few buy imbalances, and you can't even break the first level of resistance, which was only $1 higher. So that's relatively weak. I mean, I bet you I can look right back at CCL, which had that buy imbalance, and still see it not go anywhere. So that's the weakness is pretty much here. There's no buyers that are jumping in en masse at the end of the day, unfortunately. You're seeing a decent move in the SPY, but I feel like that's probably being led by some non-growth names. The growth stocks are still struggling.
I just tried to punch short there on AMD. It's coming back up, but the 1 minute is just crazy here. 113.4, 113.04 I was looking at right there, but now we're below, and I just feel like that big imbalance gets paired, right? So when it gets paired, there's SNDL. Neil just showed up with 7 million buy right there.
What the?
So let's see if SNDL just spiked up. Yeah, a little bit, starting to go back up to the upside there on SNDL. So a nice move there. Tilray with a buy as well. Okay, here. Maybe Mr. Biden and Putin will be lighting one up here because these cannabis names starting to go back up to the upside there. That's a good way to make friends. There's LVS. LVS $45. There I have a sell imbalance as well. And I don't think anybody's trading that. A lot of people trading AMD. So there's AMD. 1.8 million buy. And look, it's starting to turn around, going to the downside. So you can't trust these all the time. But AMD, we did warn you that there was index action. So this is not a surprise to me that we're moving a little bit here. But the futures really are just maintaining. So
it looks like there was one trade at that exact moment when I wasn't watching Sundial, but if you had Sundial up when that went from basically nothing to a 7 million imbalance, this is what it was doing when that happened. It was just sitting here at 63. By the time I flipped to it, it had already broken, but there it is. And look, you would have had to have been watching Sundial. You would have had to have had your imbalance locator up and seen the spike, and then maybe you could have had this one to the punch. There's no way I'm chasing it because at 355, you see a lot of pairing and imbalances. At 358, you'll see the same thing again, and it's already paired off from 7 to 4.5. So as that's happening, you're going to see this probably come back a little bit. But that was an opportunity. I mean, Sundial spiked up. I think someone was saying Schumer was talking about cannabis, Sundial, Tilray, and then a big buy imbalance. Someone jams at the end. Now, 7 million imbalance at the time into 171 million. Everything is relative, but it's enough that it gave you an actionable trade. But you had to be on that stock. I was watching Xilinx, AMD, didn't have Sundial chart up. There's no way I could have actually taken the trade.
Now, let's see what the king has to say here today. Apple, only down 1.6. So, if you're going to use Apple as a bellwether, which we talk about that all the time, you may want to just watch out for Apple, see what Apple's doing because there's they're huge in the indexes. So, of course, Apple just IPO'd here back in November, so we don't have any past data on that. But so anyways, it's hard to look at that. But on the 1 minute chart today, nice little fall down. They made that bottom at 168 and then just right back to the upside. So Apple making some moves here today as well. One name that I want to get that I've actually haven't bought in a very, very long time. I used to trade Costco back and forth between 100 and 140. Now it's $500. But Costco, again, on any sort of a beatdown, you remember I just said, I guess it must be all my charts don't want to load back to November, but Costco down here, good opportunities to pick some up. It's rallied off the bottom, but if the market does fail, I told you we sold some Walmart at that 145, and I don't really hold anything in the retail, but I forgot to mention Costco. I do like that bottom if we do make a bottom back to the downside. But wow, the market, Neil, definitely not making bouncing bottoms as now that's bouncing hard.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw SPY go to 442. Now we're getting a little bit of a bounce. I mean, the ES got through that 44.2, like I just said, and then the NASDAQ finally putting in a little bit of a bottom. It's not a huge rally, but guess what? We were 3.4% to the downside, so we've managed to get back a quarter of that. That's something. I think it's just that the short covering that we're probably seeing there. AMD Xilinx, which should be interesting because Xilinx pumping up into the close, which could mean that it might sell off right at the end of the day. AMD really just getting back to 113, so it's still down 10%. AMD is going to be SSR. This is the kind of market that we're in, like big name companies that didn't report, it's like this is not on earnings or anything, but a 10% move. So we'll be short sell restricted on AMD on Monday, which is crazy. You're not used to seeing that kind of a thing. Just double checking to see, yeah, Tesla, that 850 bounce, maybe that was the one after all. Like I said at the time, I went after Square, I went after AMD. Tesla didn't try 850, and Tesla gives you one of the cleaner moves that you'll see off of 850 bucks. It is what it is. I'll say it one more time. That's the last time I'll say that phrase. But we missed out on Tesla 850, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's a bellwether, not belt weather. So bellwether is like something that you'll look at that will kind of like lead the way and be like, I actually don't know where it comes from, but I just want to show you guys right here. Look at AMD. Watch the size follow this down. You see there's 100. Okay, now it's gone. We'll see if there it is, 120. So they just ate it all up. It was following it down. It was only about, what was it, 20,000 shares or 10,000 shares, but AMD still trying to go. Let's check the imbalances one last time for you guys. BAC, SNDL, you can see now it's done. Excuse me, it's done. AMD is done now. There it is right here, 5 million shares paired. So that means they've already matched 5 million shares, and they still have left, because people can put orders in, they still have left 500,000, and it's just shaking back and forth. You see now people are adding to it, so we'll see what happens. And I don't see Xilinx on here, but we know what Xilinx, XLNX, right?
Yeah.
There it is. So Xilinx right now, we'll see the daily chart, but it's bouncing a little bit here as well. So I don't think this index action is going to be anything. We may get a crazy print right at the end, but for right now, it doesn't look like they're selling Xilinx at all or buying AMD. It's kind of just flowing with the market here. So that is that. There's the TLT. We talk about that a little bit too if you want to get some hedges on for the TLT. But again, is my chart working? Yes, it is. You see the move up here. This is the Barclays, the Treasury, right? The 20-year Treasury. So that's starting to move upside today, 1.35%. So little counter trade action on the TLT.
Why not? It's like,
Tim is loving those
I just
burgers.
thought Tim, he's loving that burger, man. Get your eat on, man. Let's
Take one home.
Work through lunch apparently, and has to eat that burger. But it was pretty tasty. With only about 30 seconds to go, guys. Mark into the close. Obviously, we're not going to end in positive territory, but guess what? There were some good opportunities to be able to trade. Enjoy that Super Bowl, of course, and look at some of those picks that we had. But 20 seconds. Oh, the good news.
Yeah, what? Tell me.
Miss V's back next week.
Right. Miss V is back in the building on Monday, as long as Russia somehow lets her out. That would be great.
Oh,
I say that like jokingly, but I mean, it's
actually
serious.
no, you're
I don't
right.
know what's going to happen with the flight going. But here we go. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and there it is.
That's actually a good.
Thank you, Tim, for that one. And yeah, the market, wow. We actually started tanking there right at the end of the day. So yeah, excuse me. Oh, there it is right there. So, that's TLT. I just wanted to see, Brennan, quickly before I go back. There it is right there. It's 194. 92 is the print on Xilinx. So look at this.
Nothing.
There it is right there. Let me just show you right now. Boom, there it is. A million, no. Is that 9? Yeah, that's 10 million shares. 10 million shares done on Xilinx at the close without any market impact. So I will say congratulations. We'll hit the siren there. NASDAQ, good job on that one.
That's how it's supposed to go.
That's exactly how it's supposed to go. So NASDAQ wins again there. Look what this print looks like on the chart here. It's like it did nothing all day and then boom, 10 million shares done at the close. So a good job there by NASDAQ. It seemed to they had the market there.
That's how you run an auction, man.
Yeah, they did a good auction. I don't know what AMD did, but Brendan's going to tell us how the market wound up.
Yeah, crazy volume there at the end of the day, guys. Let's have a look at how we wrapped up the week. Definitely red. 2.08 for the S&P. NASDAQ, yeah, pretty ugly, 3.25%. I mean, all said and done, there was a bounce as well at the end of the day. So remember, that could have been a lot bigger. 1.2 for the Dow as well. This was 5.5% at one point. So coming off a little bit there for oil futures. And yeah, as we said, pretty ugly for cryptocurrencies as well.
Yeah, and like we mentioned a comment about like Toronto, we're talking about Toronto banks and Toronto ETS. The reason why the TSX will be flat because there's so many, the banks and the energy companies are such a big part of the index, and that's why it's going to be flat in a day like today. Crazy show. I hope everybody enjoys Super Bowl. It's the kind of event that you sit back, crack a few, enjoy time with the family, the friends, whatever it might be. Even if you're not a football fan, it's like one of those things you grow up and you do it.
I mean, I'm just jacked up for the halftime show. I mean, honestly, I think Eminem is going to go insane. He's going to go ham. I think he's going to go hard.
Of course he will.
Yeah, like real hard. Like I think he's going to go like Rap God. He's going to go nuts. If you guys know the song Rap God, I just think he's going to go hard. And forgot about Dre. There's so many great mixes and mashups and everything with Dre and Snoop and Eminem possibilities. Like I'm very excited. I'm really excited for Eminem. And then Mary J. Blige and Kendrick obviously should top it off as well. And so it's going to be a great. Like I'm super excited for the halftime show. To be honest with you, I don't always watch the halftime show. Last year it was our boy.
Okay,
from Scarborough.
I watched because it was the weekend. And I love the weekend.
Eminem sucks.
He's very
okay,
talented, but
that's
it was not
John
very
Costello.
Good. Who said that?
Ban Hammer time. I'm banning. No, I won't ban you. I should though. I know everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I don't think Eminem.
He wouldn't necessarily be.
Okay, look, he's 50 years old.
He's top 10.
Okay, he's 50 years old. So
is he not top 10 all time?
Top 10? Yeah.
Is it even debatable?
No.
He might not be a Mount Rushmore for me, but he's definitely top 10.
No, Vanilla Ice is on Mount Rushmore because he invented rap. But Eminem, a good guy as well. Rakim is there for sure. Jay-Z is there.
Jay-Z.
I don't think you can ignore Biggie, and there's a few good names that are on the list to go. We could just keep on going, especially if you go back, Big Daddy Kane and stuff like that.
Oh boy,
I mean,
now you're.
Yeah, I even like Mobb Deep, but they only had a little of an area of
Most Def is in my top 10.
I forgot about Queensbridge Stand Up because Nas is in the building as well. But okay, anyways, we could go on and on and on again. Mark discussed a podcast, so maybe we have to do something like this at one point. But hey, for everybody today, what a fantastic show. Thank you to Tim and Lucas. You guys worked really hard.
Enjoy that burger, bro.
I definitely appreciate it. Thanks for Mark for not falling and making like a workman's comp claim or anything like that because he was up on this ladder and I felt like people were making comments maybe he should have had a helmet on because like he was really up there. But thanks for that, Mark, as well. All the hard work. And next week, maybe next week, we'll flow over and we'll have some different looks for our show and
actually
for
nodded, so maybe
Trader Prad's show as well, Market Movers. Thank you to Arun. I don't know if he's still here. Thank you to Trader Prad. Hey, Arun, what's up, buddy? Thank you to Arun. There's Trader Prad. Just stone cold chilling. Thanks, Prad, again. And he's a real trooper. You guys know the story there. Thanks, Prad, for showing up this week for sure. And that's about it, man. Thanks to Maggie. Thanks to Miss V as well. And thanks to Laura, who's always on the chat. And I don't have much to say. I don't know if I thanked Brendan yet, but thanks to Brendan, always the hardest working guy.
He's still looking at news right now.
Exactly. So
no, I'm not.
There we go. Brendan. It's
Friday, bro.
Anything? What's on your mind? Because I just rambled on a little bit.
I mean, this is. I think this is going to be an important weekend as far as what happens in the world. So it could be a big week next week, guys. So make sure you're right here with us on Monday.
Yeah, get rested, be ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get lots of sleep and watch the halftime show, watch the Super Bowl. It's been a good one. Thank you to everybody. We're the Trader TV Live team, and we will see you back here 8:30. Stay for the trade of the day. See you guys.
Who they gonna beat them Bengals?
Oh.